EAGLES, Eagles.
Welcome in, everybody, to a Victory Monday edition of Birds 365 here on JAKIB Sports. The Philadelphia Eagles get the win last night, and they moved to 8-2 on the year, a signature win, a key win over the Detroit Lions, one of the best teams in football for the last two seasons. And the Birds get the win and dominate them defensively. We'll talk about it all here today on Birds 365. I'm your host, Zander Krause. That's my co-host, Johnny Mac, John McMullen. J-Mac, how you doing on a Monday morning, my friend?
Little microphone problem, stumbling around like the Eagles offense, but got it fixed. Hopefully, won't have any more issues, and maybe the Eagles will get it fixed at some point. But no complaining about the defense today.
Yeah, no complaining.
Wow, what a tremendous performance by that defense.
John, I'm feeling a great sense of enlightenment this morning because if you can win versus the Lions with that putrid offensive performance, then can't you beat anybody in the league, John? I mean, this is a defensive football team, and some might wonder, well, are we going to get got? Well, that was the team that we would have gotten got on if your offense can't move the football. They could have moved the football, and the Eagles still get the win on the backs of that defense. I'm feeling enlightened today, Johnny Mac. This defense is back, baby.
Yeah, it certainly looks that way. Now, you have to factor in the weather over the past couple of weeks because remember, both offenses struggled on both sides in those games. Green Bay scored 7 points, very good offense. What was it, 19 degrees out there yesterday? The wind and it was cold, and it was, they cut off the wind advisory at 7:00, but it was still windy for the entire game. So I don't know why they cut it off, but so that has to factor in as well. So the Eagles didn't score, but the Lions didn't score, and the Lions score against everybody, and I couldn't even picture a game where the Eagles weren't going to have to score more points, and all of a sudden it developed into that game. So I do think you've got to put that one caveat on it, that the same time the Eagles offenses looked so putrid is the same time the other offenses have looked so putrid. So I think the weather over the past couple of weeks has had a big deal to do with that.
That's fair. John, let's start on the defense though, man. I mean, how good are they in your eyes? And when you can shut down, I mean, I get it. You just added the caveat of the weather, but now let's leave that aside because I think you've added it in. He held the Packers and the Lions, John, two teams that were supposed to be and really are, a top teams in the NFC, to 16 combined points in 8 quarters of football in 6 days' time. John, that defense is humming. Jalen Phillips looks like the piece that they were really missing that has finally dropped things back into place. And Nakobe Dean is flying around on the field like a missile. Same with Zach Bond. Just amazing performance all around. Even Adoree Jackson playing well yesterday. That defense, can't say enough about them, John, how good they've been. And, you take away really two tough teams. This isn't these aren't shoddy teams they played these last couple weeks. These are good football teams. And that defense has really risen up to the occasion. What'd you make of what they were able to do last night, John?
Yeah, I that defensive front, I'm interested to see how many pressures they credited that team with, because they were all over Jared Goff to the point they turned what might be the most accurate quarterback in the NFL to the most inaccurate quarterback in the NFL. He was 14 of 37.
Yep.
14 of 37. That is abysmal. Down when he's throwing the ball down the field, the numbers were even worse. And you could see,
I saw, yeah.
You could see sometimes the rush, most of the time the rush was there, but there were a few times it wasn't, and he thought it was because he was spooked from when it was there. And it reminded me of the Super Bowl from the front domination part of it. Just completely dominated the football game from almost snap number one It was really the interception, obviously. And then it was off and running from the defensive perspective. So when those guys, and that was like their third offensive play, when those guys get it going, whew, and they had it going last night. And yeah, you're right. I mean, Jalen Phillips, he's the final piece of the puzzle. They couldn't do that pre Jalen Phillips. Now everything, starting pitcher in the rotation analogy I give all the time. He's the ace. Now you can fit everybody in behind him. And then the interior guys, just Carter, Davis, Ajomo, were unblockable. From what Vic Fangio called the best offensive line in the NFL. Now, I think he was wrong, but they're still good compared to other teams.
Offensive line.
Detroit.
Yeah. They called it. I got it. Vic called them the best offensive line. Yeah, John, how about the batting of the balls too, man? They've got so good at that, those guys. Jalen Carter's always had a knack for it, but they've taken that thing to the next level, man. Those are big plays, man. When they do that, they knock those balls out of the air. That defensive line was really, really having a good night. John, even on Penei Sewell, I mean, there was one rep in the red zone. I think it was the fourth down in the red zone, like right near the goal line where Dory Jackson held up. Jalen Phillips just beat Penei Sewell on that rush. I mean, he ran right around him. It was really impressive what this defensive line's been able to do.
Yeah, I mean, there was a rep where Carter just bulldozed Tate Ratledge. I mean, it's going to be ugly film for Detroit's offensive line.
Yeah.
I mean, they were getting their lunch handed to them. So, and again, it's a pretty good offense. Not what it was when Ragnow was there, but still a pretty good offensive line. And guys are going to beat, they're human beings. Even Penei Sewell, even Lane Johnson here, they get beat occasionally. They are human beings, but I mean, that was Super Bowl level dominance from the Eagles front. And when you play like that from the front, and I don't want to disparage anybody else because N'Kobe played great, Zach Bond played great, Quinyon Mitchell was just completely unbelievable. Dory Jackson had his best game. You didn't even think about the safeties. They were solid. Cooper, there's a couple times you get caught, but that's it. That's a really good offense, and they made them look really bad, with the exception of Gibbs. But even Gibbs, third one.
Gibbs they contained. I mean, they had a couple of those, screen passes. It felt like that was the only thing that worked all night for them. I mean, Gibbs had 5 receptions for 107 yards. But he had 12 carries.
That's about about the only thing they had is when they got him out in space, and then he's unbelievable. But they stopped him on 3rd, 1, and 4th and 1, on one of their 4th downs, and completely stoned him. I think it was Morrow on that play. I mean, they were 0 for 5. Look, that's how Detroit wins. 4th down. They were 0 for 5. 0 for 5 in 4th downs. And they were terrible on 3rd downs, too. They were 3 of 13. And now it was a 3rd down catastrophe from both sides. But they were 3 for 13 on 3rd down and 0 for 5 on 4th down. To the point, I haven't seen it in years. They just gave up at the end of the game. And Nick Sirianni let him back in it for us. That was a poor decision. But,
yeah, it was.
They gave up. And if there was one team I said, well, they're not going to give up, it would have been the Detroit Lions. They made them give up. They said, we can't get up. It would have been
amazing, man. The defense truly suffocated that team. One of the best offenses in football, not only this year, but of the last 2 years, maybe even longer than that. This highly anticipated matchup, John. And, we joked last week, there's no way you're holding them to what you held the Packers to. Well, the Eagles defense did it. Maybe the weather was a factor, but shit, excuses aside, that's a hell of a defensive performance, J-Mac.
Yeah, it was. I mean, You can't really. I mean, I think I brought up I do think more from the Eagles' perspective. I do think people are going to shit on the offense. So what I'm trying to say is, well, yes, the offenses look completely shitty, but I do think the weather had something to do with, as evidenced by Green Bay was pretty shitty and Detroit was pretty shitty. So it's not just the Eagles' offense. So I do think that's important context. But from a defensive perspective, as I said, the one little blip on the radar was the 2 plays back to back that resulted in the touchdown.
Yeah, right.
And that told you, all right, well, they can get the ball out in space if they need to. They did it twice in a row and scored a touchdown, but they couldn't do it other than that.
Jared
They
Goff
locked it
really
down.
off his game, man. He was 14 of 37. I think that was legitimately his worst completion percentage in a game in his career. I think I have to double check that. Jeff
I
Curtis.
mean, he had some bad ones with the Rams, but it's tough to imagine a worse one. Certainly since he turned the corner, it's by far his worst game by far.
I mean, Johnny led the NFL coming in with 74% completions, which is insane, by the way. But
yeah,
not happening last night.
And they throw it down the field. It's not like some quarterbacks just throw little flare passes and they get to 70. Not them.
The Eagles, not them though.
They try to get the ball. They're too much play action for them. That's another for all the people that want. And I say this about Kyle and LaFleur and O'Connell, and everybody wants what they don't have, and they want the traditional play action. Well, you just saw consecutive weeks what play action does with a great pass rush. If you're going to continue to lean on it, if you can't toggle away from it,
right.
He turns his back and the rush is there. And the play's, basically dead. So there's good to a lot of things with that offense. There's some bad to it as well. When you rely on that play action mechanism for your timing, and that's what the Lions do, and that's what the 49ers do and teams like that, you're still using it when you're down trying to throw the ball all the time because you've leaned on that as a crutch, and you're still using it when everybody in the building knows you're not running the football. And it can look just as ugly as the Eagles offense looks. And when it's not working, you saw when it's not working.
No doubt about it, Johnny Mac. John, that defensive line, man, really impressive. But there's a couple things on my mind, and some of them are for future conversations, but I do think they're worth monitoring here as it happens in real time. We've talked about all the players you got to pay on defense coming up here. Well, in my opinion, we've added 2 to the mix that now have to be paid that we weren't thinking about.
One might have receded, though. You've added 2 to the mix, but Nolan Smith has probably receded.
Well, that was where I was going next, but Jalen Phillips and Nakobe Dean, in my opinion, look like they're must pay. Maybe not Nakobe. I wonder what they're going to do there because they do have the influx of linebackers. They did draft Jahad Campbell, and he does have the injury concerns, but holy crap, I would pay Nakobe Dean. He has completely transformed what this defense has looked like in the last couple of weeks. Not only him, but Jalen Phillips as well. Boy, they got a lot of dudes on that defense, man. It's going to be interesting to see what they end up doing, but there's got to be some change because a lot of them boys are earning their money, man. They earned getting signed, getting paid here in Philly.
Yeah, I mean, you can't pay everybody. They got too many good players. We went through this last year, and then there's probably going to be some difficult conversations in my immediate set. It's 2 games, so I mean, they don't have to make this decision. But if you want to use that 2-game sample size, Jalen Phillips is probably a guy you want to bring back, and we'll see if that continues. Nakobe, yeah, he's still not going to reach that level. For a lot of reasons, injury related, number one, and maybe that helps because of the injuries. Will keep down his market value, but if his market value goes to a certain point, it's just life in the NFL. They drafted a guy, And in the moment, Vic is trying to win a Super Bowl, and he thinks N'Kobe's a better equipped to get him there. And he looks to be right, as he usually is. But long term, they've already drawn their lot. They're playing Jihad Campbell, so long term. So I don't think that changes. That's just the business of football, and you can't pay everybody.
Yeah, that defense is amazingly impressive, though. We'll see what ends up happening, but a really good performance. Eagles win the game yesterday, 16-9. Not the score I think many expected coming in a game versus the Lions. They moved to 8-2 on the year. They are on the fast track to the first to the first seed in the NFC, which means the playoffs, if all things go right, will come right through Philadelphia, which is exactly what this team needs. You saw what Jared Goff looked like yesterday. So that's obviously a good sign. John, let's flip over to the offense. Defense, great. Offense, not so much. Hurts was 14-28 for 135 in the game. Saquon Barkley, 26 carries for only 83 yards. A.J. Brown gets 11 targets with 7 receptions for 49 yards. Devontae Smith, 1 catch for 8 yards. Jahan Dotson, 2 catches for 43. He made a couple big, that one big play downfield, which was nice. What'd you make of the offense, John, starting just there? What'd you see? What'd you make of it? And what's your first thought here on both sides?
Yeah, I mean, shit show, basically. Terrible offensive performance, maybe with the exception of Jahan Dotson, who I thought was pretty good. Got 2 opportunities and making plays, but obviously, as a role player, that's not gonna shift things very dramatically. I think it was a rare bad game from Devontae Smith, a rare bad game from Dallas Goedert. Still not a ton of juice in the running game from Saquon Barkley. Nice run to close it out there at the end. Hank Bigsby, I should mention him, showed some juice. But the running game still looks way off. Passing game, it's just ugly. But it's been that way. Like, I don't think that part of it's changed. I think the rushing part of it has changed. And at some point, I think you're going to have to come to the fruition that, the offensive line isn't playing as well, but I mean, Saquon does not look the same. And I think Jahmyr Gibbs being on the same field kind of showed that off. Nick made that little quip, I'd take Saquon over anybody. But then he talked about the explosiveness of Jahmyr Gibbs. It's the first time seeing it in person. Like, he don't look like that guy. Last year, he looked like that guy.
Jahmyr is amazing. But, yeah, you're right. You're right.
Now, there's just like 3 guys in the world that look like Jahmyr Gibbs, maybe. And he ain't one of them this year. So I do think I've already seen a lot of people falling on their sword. I think, 482 touches, maybe 482 touches, and they took something out of him. Not that he's a bad player. He's still a good player, but he's not the same player as last year. Can anybody debate that at this point?
No, it's tough to. I mean, it's tough to. There's no doubt.
So, I mean, I look at that first as far as because, and the reason I look at that first, again, I brought it up numerous times over the past week. This is not new for this passing offense. And then you add in the wind and we expect this passing offense to put up a big effort. Yeah.
It's not even always about the passing offense at this point for me, but I do hear what you're saying. John, Jalen was 14-28 for 135 in the game. What'd you
got a better completion percentage than Goff. How about that for a positive?
There you go. That's fair enough. What'd you make of QB1's performance?
Yeah, it wasn't good. I mean, we know that was one of his poorer performances of the season. And I'll add in again because I keep adding it in because I think it was a big deal. The weather was a big deal, especially for the quarterbacks. Quarterbacks always say, forget about Jalen Hurts and Jared Goff. If you ask them, and I've asked them many times over the years, what do you hate most? They don't say rain. They don't say snow.
Wind.
They say wind. and it was windy. So, it wasn't. In hindsight, I should have paid more attention to that. Now, I thought the wind was going to die down. It didn't. And they had the 134-yard pass to Dotson, and I think that's it. Then he had a little 17-yarder to Goddard, which was more manufactured than anything, which for people say they don't manufacture anything.
That was like a nice call there. That was the RPO you're talking about when Goddard.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a nice little call.
And that was it. And everything else is 12 and under.
Where do you put kind of more of the bullseye there, John? I mean, is it coaches? Have coaches come into the picture for you at all? I know you've been one to add a lot of context to that conversation. I do think there is a major propensity for fans to just go right to the coaching staff. I haven't fallen in that boat, but I do think, the more this thing continues to look this way, I think the coaches do have to get some blame. I'm not saying the player should be absolved of it, but, if we talk about the defense and we say Vic Fangio, how can we look at the offense and not at least look at the play callers, or the coaches? So I think we have to at least add some to it.
What's
your thought process on the coaching staff for the offense?
Even with Vic, and I'm not, I don't want to compare too many assistant coaches to Vic Fangio, but even with Vic, I still say players first. I still give credit to that front more than Vic. So to me, it doesn't change. I do have more respect for Vic than most assistant coaches or coordinators, to say the least. And he's going to get more out of a group than just about anybody else. So I think that's how I grade coaches. Do you help make your unit, what you have, a little bit better? And Vic certainly does it, but it's still players first. It's always players first. Vic ain't out there covering like Quinyon Mitchell. I mean, he's not batting down balls like 6 foot
dials
6
things
Jordan
up
Davis.
At perfect times, doesn't he, John? I mean, he
he's got a knack. He's got a knack. He's got a knack for it. And certainly I'm not comparing. I know where people want to go when you ask this question. I'm not comparing.
Yeah, but I honestly don't ask the question to try and have like a gotcha moment or like come at it. I'm trying to get your honest opinion of like, where do you actually put, from the mind of John McMullen, where do you?
First of all, I push back on it because one, I've said, if you want to blame the coaches, and everybody wants to blame the coaches, I don't think it's about play calling. I think it's about philosophy. That's where they have really made it difficult by being so conservative, by being so risk averse to do anything stylish, because people want style points. And Nick brought it up again. And by the way, I think it was right. I thought that was an interesting quote when he was asked about, calling these wins ugly or whatever, gritty. I think the term was used. And he said he'd like to win by 30 points every game, but that's not the reality of the NFL. The same old, I think we take a lot of pride in winning, but this is what I like because I agree with him 1,000%. So he's a football wonk. He's always watching football, and he played a night game. So he said, as I watch football today, I feel like I saw a lot of teams waiting to lose. I feel the same way. Like I watch everybody else, and they're waiting for the other shoe to drop late in these games. The Eagles are the exact opposite. And they're waiting for ways to win. They're like, we need a block field goal. We're going to go out and block the field goal. As crazy as that sounds, that's their philosophy. And I think it's meaningful. But, they play this style of football because they're building the offense around what they have at the quarterback position. Sometimes I think that's unfair. Usually I think it's unfair.
Right. As you've talked about now for the better part of a year and a half.
Now, I saw this crazy stat, and Jeff, we'll bring Jeff up because he's our stat guy. So tell me if this is right, Jeff Kerr.
Let me bring him up. Give me one sec here. I do got to get to some super chats as well, John, so I want to get to those. But let's bring up Jeff Kerr right now here on Birds 365. You can follow him at Jeff Kerr CBS. Jeff, welcome to the program, brother.
Hey, what's up, guys?
All right, my personal stat guy, Jeff Kerr. So whatever the number is, I think it's 580 something since week 4 of last season. 580 pass attempts, 2 interceptions. The first span of 500 plus in NFL history at any point for any quarterback. That's the stat I saw. Is that stat real? Because it's so unreal.
That is correct.
I mean, that's fucking insane.
They don't beat themselves. They let other teams do it.
Exactly. Say it again, Jeff. They don't beat themselves.
The Lions did it last night. Dan Campbell, 0 for 5 on 4th down. And I get it with the wind and everything else. You don't want to kick a field goal there, but they just kept going for it. And then, oh, by the way, at the end of the game, Dan Campbell decides to punt.
Yeah, well, they broke him. I think they broke him. He gave up.
Yeah.
I never thought I'd see Dan Campbell give up.
Yeah. As bad as of a call I thought that was at the end of the game, I still don't think the Lions were scoring a touchdown. So
no, I don't think either. Well, it's as bad as the pass interference, as bad as the 4th and 1, and they were both egregious by Nick Sirianni, the 4th and 1. Just punt the football. Yeah. That deep in your own territory. And then, the pass interference was brutal now that I've gotten a chance to see it. But they weren't going to score. They just weren't.
Jared Goff was so rattled last night. That's his lowest completion percentage in the game ever.
Yeah, he was terrible.
I speculated that earlier. Is that confirmed, Jeff? It is the lowest of all time for him?
For him, yeah. And you know what's crazy about this whole thing? So I had to look up some numbers last night. I did in my overreactions pieces I put on Twitter so you all can see it.
X.com, the X platform.
Yeah, the X platform. Jared Goff is actually really good on the road. So this is kind of surprising. Oh, by the way, he's also really good in under 50-degree weather, which I did not think was true, but it is. So credit to Vic Fangio. Credit
is he good
to
in the wind,
Mitchell.
though? Is he good in the wind?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I got to look that one up. Yeah. I don't think there's a metric for wind.
By the way, I don't think any quarterback's good in the wind.
No.
That's what they hate the most.
That's what I thought was crazy about, trying to force feed AJ Brown last night. It's like, you sure you want to do that this week? Want to wait a week or two?
Yeah, right.
Well, squeaky wheel, yada, yada. He got some targets.
Yeah. Yeah, he definitely got his targets. He also only had 7 catches for 49 yards.
That ain't just a squeaky wheel. That axle was broken coming in. Jeff, kind of your full thoughts on the game, just overall. I know we started right there, but I do want to kind of just zoom out for a second. 2 weeks now, Jeff, you hold the Lions and the Packers collectively to 16 combined points, which is just insane. If you told us that at the beginning of the year, I think we all would have been like, that's not happening. They win the game 16-9. Offense was what it was. The defense was absolutely incredible. Just your first thought, your first takeaway from the Eagles' big win on Sunday Night Football.
I think they got their pass rush back from last year. It's amazing what one
Might
player
can
do. Yeah, exactly. Oh, Jalen Phillips is a steal. It's a heist, and you gave up a 3rd-round pick for the guy. Like, it just shows you how good he was under Vic Fangio those 8 games in 2023, and he's all over the place. I mean, he was so crucial to that 4th down stop in that goal-to-go situation, but it's opening things up for Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Moro Jomo, Jalix Hunt. Look, the Lions have a really good offensive line. Let's not skew the narrative here. This is a really good offensive line, and
they called it the best. They called it the best in the NFL.
And I don't think that's wrong. Well,
I don't think they're number 1, but they're good. They're top 5. Yeah. I think they were potentially number 1 with Frank Ragnow, but they don't have Frank anymore. Plus, Coyote Awasika was in there. Their left guard was out. So not quite up to what Vic said, but still a very good offensive line.
Yeah, I mean, Penei Sewell, I don't think he had that great of a game. He had a good game, but not the All-Pro Penei Sewell.
That fourth down in the near the end zone, Jalen Phillips burnt him, ran right around him.
I don't think I've ever seen a better game from Jalix Hunt.
Yeah, he's
Jalix Hunt was all over the field.
He's benefited tremendously from Jalen Phillips, 100%.
Have you seen a better game from Jordan Davis?
Probably not. Yeah, that's a good point.
Jordan Davis, he's having a sneaky really, good year. Yeah, it goes unnoticed because of the position he plays. It's not exactly a stat-dominated position, but the guy's tied for the NFL lead amongst defensive linemen in batted passes. Keep in mind he plays defensive tackle.
It's J.J. Watt.
Yeah, it's crazy. You're right, Jeff. It's really incredible. Jeff, let me ask you what you think of this. I've had a sense of enlightenment today, okay, Jeff, where for many weeks I was saying, we're not going to win in the playoffs if our offense can't be a little better than this. This is too bad. We're going to get got. Well, if you can play that bad offensively versus the Lions and still win the game, I mean, I feel like we could beat anybody. I mean, I feel like we don't never need the offense to get better. Do they need the offense to get better, or is this defense good enough to take them the distance?
I mean, just ask the Denver Broncos how that's working out for them. Their offense looks terrible basically every single week, and they find ways to win.
Yeah, I know. I
mean, the two best teams in the NFL right now have offensive identity issues, and they're the ones on winning streaks, and they're the ones that are currently the number one seed in their conference. So, look,
I don't think I've ever seen a season, certainly recently, where all the best teams have a bunch of holes.
That's why it's so I think that's why a lot of people are kind of saying, look, the Eagles are probably going to go back to the Super Bowl because they got the most talent out of all these teams. And you're right, John. Everybody's got a bunch of holes this year.
And by the way, today, if the playoffs started today, they do not. But if the playoffs started today, the Detroit Lions, the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Baltimore Ravens would not be invited. So, who the hell's going to beat the Eagles?
Well, let's look at the teams the Eagles have beaten, because I like to point this out. The Rams, the 2 seed. The Packers, the 6 seed. The Lions, who are currently out. By the way, the Eagles have a huge role in keeping them out. They do not get to play the Seahawks. They played the Buccaneers. They beat them. The Bears are 7-3, but they have the weakest schedule out of anybody in the league so far. Their strength of victory is also really bad. So I don't know what to make of them.
The Bears are this year's Commanders. People think they're good, but they're not good.
Exactly. And look, by the way, the Eagles beat the Chiefs, who I know it doesn't look as impressive now because they're 5-5, but they beat the Chiefs in Arrowhead. So any box you want the Eagles to check, they check. Oh, and they had a late lead against the Broncos in the fourth quarter. They had a 14-point lead against the Broncos in the fourth quarter. So, look.
Cilio brought that up last night. He was like, well, the Broncos beat them. I'm like, yeah, I mean, that's like, yeah, but can't have it both ways. Like the Rams outplayed the Eagles, but the Eagles found a way to win the game, but the Rams outplayed them. Let's be honest.
Yeah, but I think the Broncos are sneakily like the Eagles. Great defense, great offensive line, good running game, okay on offense.
Well, there's two big differences. One, they don't have a long sustained history of
that's certainly true.
Winning games and figuring out ways to win games in all different fashions. And two, their quarterback will turn the football over quite a bit.
Yeah.
Where we just talked about Jalen Hurts, whatever the number is, 588, I think is the number. If I'm wrong, correct me, Jeff. But 588 passing attempts, 2 interceptions. That's freaking insanity.
It doesn't happen.
No, it's never happened. To that point, it's never happened before. Ever.
And look, what was the turnover margin last night, John? 1-0?
Yeah.
Officially, we're not counting the fourth down.
Well, yeah, that Nick fourth down, then they were +6, which makes the offense look even worse. By the way.
I was going to say
you shouldn't say that. Yeah, because they had short fields. They had, and they did nothing with it.
It's amazing. The only team over the last 25 years to go 0 for 5 on fourth down or worse are coached by Dan Campbell.
Well, he does it, and that's, been part of their success. So I'm not going to kill them for 1 week. It just wasn't, they didn't execute. That's what it comes down to. But
that's how he lost the conference title game too.
Yeah.
He lost conference title game doing that. But you're right, John. That's who he is. He's not going to change.
Yeah. I mean, you can't have it both ways. You can't build up a team with that aggressive nature and then stop it and say, "Well, we should we shouldn't do it."
They
In the
did
biggest
stop in the fourth
moments.
quarter.
Well, yeah, and I think
They
that
they
was
yeah,
so uncharacteristic. I said, "Oh, they, if that were an MMA fight, they tapped him out. He just gave up. He just gave
yeah.
up."
He was hoping the Eagles would kind of beat themselves, and the coach played a role in
Yeah, I
that
guess
by
he was.
going for it.
I guess they did. They made him look good. Nick made him look good with that poor decision. Um, and then maybe I don't think so. I think he gave up, but maybe he said, "Well, their offense can't do anything either." But I don't think so.
Yeah, Nick made up for what I thought was a good decision early in the game when he decided to kick that field goal. I think it was in the second quarter, the 27-yarder by Elliott, and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden he said to go. And look, I know Nick has said this to us, John, before about that a situation like that, and you kind of roll your eyes, but then when he does it, you're like, I guess he's backing up what he's saying, but. And
By
I
the
did
way,
not like him.
Jake Elliott in bad weather is a big advantage over like a dome kicker like Bates, who's
Yeah.
brutal out there. He
Jake
didn't
Elliott
make the
hits like 50
54-yarder.
yarders in the snow and
Yeah.
50 yarders in the wind. It's
Now he didn't make the 54-yarder late, where I guess he hit that right, but boy, he didn't. That extra point. Oof. So Jake Elliott deserves some credit for being developing himself into a poor weather kicker. But the bottom line is, I'll tell you this. I mean, 2017, the Eagles have home field, go to the Super Bowl. 2022 have home field, go to the Super Bowl. And last year, because of how things worked out, they're playing at Lincoln Financial Field and they go to the Super Bowl.
and this is the game the Lions wanted. This is the game that, and I said it multiple times. If the Eagles played Detroit in Detroit last year, they're gonna lose, but it didn't happen. So because the Lions couldn't beat the Commanders, so the Eagles got a gift and they took advantage of it.
Yeah.
I thought the Lions were the best team in football last year until the last couple weeks of the season when their defense was giving up 35 a game because everybody was hurt. I'm like, well, you can't win the Super Bowl playing defense like that. And I thought they'd correct it because people would get healthy, and no one got healthy.
Yeah, it's a big part of it. Jeff, what'd you make of A.J. Brown's game? Obviously had the week preceding the game where a lot of commentary, owner meeting, all sorts of different things. And then he gets 11 targets, 7 catches, 49 yards. There was one play that many are pushing back on A.J. for, looking like he kind of gave up on a route. I happen to think there's more context there than fans give. But it is what
I do too.
What do you think of A.J. Brown's performance last night, Jeff?
Yeah, I mean, in the moment, I was like, well, either A.J. Brown gave up on the play or he just didn't know the pass was coming to him. I would love to hear A.J.'s explanation. I look, I don't think it's as big of a. I'm like you, Xander. I don't think it's as big of a deal as people are making it out to be. Look, I thought A.J. Brown was fine. I didn't think he was great. I didn't think he was. I just don't think the weather was ideal for him to actually go off last night. But look, I thought he made.
He's lost a step.
You know what? I was talking about this with some friends last night. We were watching the game, and like, he doesn't look like. And I said, I've been to enough of these games and these practices, and John knows this. It's just doesn't look like the same player. I don't know if it's the hamstring injury from earlier this summer. I don't know, but I mean, would it really? I hate to bring this up, but would it really shock anybody if the Eagles moved on after this season?
No, I think fans are starting to move on. I think fans are starting to turn on him a little bit, which I didn't expect to see because I think I set my record for muting people on Saturday when I dared to repost Diana's column. And then I just, come on, stop being baby ears. I mean,
what was wrong with why don't fans like Diana? I'm curious.
Because they don't want to hear. Yeah, she's reporting what they don't want to hear. And by the way, I've reported the same damn thing on the show, and they don't want to hear it constantly.
Yeah, it's. I mean, look, I said it yesterday. Like I've talked to AJ Brown at times this year. It's I'm not there now, but look, do I get the sense he's miserable? No, frustrated.
No,
yeah. Oh, yeah. But I don't think there was anything wrong with what Diana said.
No, there's
Yeah.
absolutely nothing wrong with it.
No,
Nothing.
and you know what? Diana's a great reporter. I really don't like when people go after reporters. I don't. Oh, the media's evil. Stop.
Yeah, we're all having, our back table, Pacheco and Caden Steele stopped by, and Sal stopped by, Sal Palantonio, who did his own story yesterday.
Sal had a
And
great story yesterday.
We had a little meeting, and we tried to take down the Eagles. We can't do it. We can't do it.
Not even their offense can take.
And by the way, I'm joking. We don't do that. We had dinner.
Yeah, you guys would enjoy that our whole little powwow before game. I think fans would really enjoy it. The sarcasm that comes out of there.
Yeah, we should put up a video camera and make it a show. Who knows? Maybe
we should.
Maybe we'll do that.
You'll get a random Seinfeld reference in there. You'll get certain comments. People will enjoy it.
Jeff, what'd you make of Jalen Hurts' game yesterday? 14-28, 135. Doesn't turn the ball over. Doesn't do a whole lot to add in terms of in a game like that. But boy, I told you, Jeff. If we can beat the Lions with the offense not doing anything, like that was the one team, Jeff, that I'm like, that team will get you because they're going to put points on the board. Well, they didn't, and you still win.
Yeah.
What'd you make of Jalen Hurts' performance and where he is right now in the 25 season?
I mean, look, I wasn't good last night. I'll be blunt. He wasn't good. I mean, I thought he was going to hit Saquon Barkley on that wheel route for a touchdown. Yeah. I think, and he didn't. Was it a wheel route, John? I mean, obviously, you got a better view.
Which one? Which one? Sorry.
It was a wheel route, actually.
The deep throw to Saquon.
Yeah, that was a wheel. Yeah,
that was a wheel route. Okay, so yeah, I thought he should have hit that. He didn't. I mean, he looked off all night. But with the elements and look, I took the dog out outside of halftime. I can't imagine what it was like for those players during that game. But that's one of those I chalk it up to. You're gonna have bad games every once in a while, and hopefully when you have those bad games, you don't turn the football over. Well, give credit where credit's due. 58 touchdowns to 7 giveaways since week 6 of last season.
That's unbelievable.
It really is.
That is unbelievable. Like that, I keep saying it's not sustainable. How is that?
And he finds a way to do it. Yeah. He broke the system.
Well, it's a little easier. Not easier. I'm not trying. I'm not going to say because people will take it the wrong way. I mean, part of it is because they do play risk averse, right? Like
yes, a big part of it.
Absolutely.
That's the point. That's the point. What do you want? What do you really want? What do you really want? I say that I'm not talking to you guys. What fans out there? What do you really want? Do you really want wins, or do you want things to look better?
That's fair. That's fair.
It's hard to argue 24-3 in your last 27 games. That is an 889 win percentage.
Yeah, I mean, how is an NFL fan base can you complain about that run?
No, you can't. I've never seen.
Oh, you can. We do it every day.
My dad actually made a joke to me last night. He sends me a text when I told him the Eagles are 24-3 in their last 27. He goes, "I don't even know if they won 24 games from 1965 to 1970." Yeah. So think about that for a second.
It wasn't always like this, to say the least.
No, this was a poor franchise and again, there's a generation of fans that think 2015 is the worst year ever, and they went 7-9. So look, this is awesome what they're doing. This is an incredible run. Soak it in, enjoy it. You might be getting another championship out of it this year.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna. I don't see anybody that's gonna beat this team.
I think they're more equipped to win it this year than last year. I was like, well, if so-and-so does this, they could beat them. I see less of that this year than last year. Who the hell's going to beat them? Maybe Shane Steichen. Maybe Indianapolis.
If they get there.
If they get there, they don't know how to win either. But Taylor's having an historic year, just like Barkley was having last year. So you kind of see some of the connections, but you're going to trust Daniel Jones. I don't know. He's playing well. He had been playing well. I don't know if you can do that. I just look at it and say Taylor's having a historic year, just like Saquon had. He's on a pace to beat Saquon, isn't he?
Touchdown wise, absolutely. Touchdown wise, he's on pace for 26 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah.
But I think his pace is like 1900, which is still an incredible season. I mean, look,
Yeah.
Jonathan Taylor should be getting votes for MVP, and he's not because it's the most valuable quarterback award.
Yeah, exactly.
By
So,
the way,
but I'm stretching to try to find a team.
who's
That's the
coming out of the
only
AFC?
team that's the only team I'd look at and say that to me looks like a potential Super Bowl team.
Yeah.
That's it.
I mean, I want to say the Rams, but the Eagles beat them. And the Rams struggled against Seattle yesterday.
Yeah, the Rams, they got the Rams number because they got that whole style they play. They don't lose to that style. They don't. They're like, well, they're, I hate to give out these numbers. Like now they're 11-0 against the NFC North. He's
and
never.
They have a chance to go 12-0.
Yeah, he's never. Oh, they will go 12-0. Nick has never lost to McVay. He's never lost to LaFleur. He's never lost to O'Connell. He's got a beat on that freaking offense.
Yeah, that's this is what I love. I saw someone tweet it, and I forget who it was. Could we trade Nick Sirianni for Sean McVay? I said, do you like losing? Like Nick Sirianni does not lose these people.
That's just always crazy because I think the Eagles could beat the Rams 10 straight times. And 2 weeks later, people will be saying, yeah, but I think Sean's a better coach. I'm like, maybe he's a better schemer. Not maybe he is. But as a coach,
I was a jerk watching Seahawks Rams. Yeah, I was a jerk watching Seahawks Rams yesterday. They were saying, well, the big win for the Rams. And it was, but I said, I'm looking at it as, yeah, you were supposed to win that game. You were at home and you did not play well. Seattle's going to beat them in Seattle. They're going to.
Well, I think so, yeah. I mean, that's a Sam game, and that's why people attack Sam, because he's going to have that game, because he takes chances. And that's what happens.
Yeah, some of that was worse than just taking chances.
Sam had a bad game. He did.
Yeah, he had a bad game. But it's going to happen. And it's going to happen more for guys who take chances. But it's going to look better when it's clicking.
But that win was huge. The Rams win over the Seahawks was huge for the Eagles. I do not want to see the Eagles go to Seattle for a playoff game.
Well,
they don't win there.
Tough place.
They haven't won there since 2008.
But they're not proven. Again,
no, they're not.
You have a coach who's not proven at that level. You have a quarterback who's not proven at that level. Who's proven? There's one team.
Oh, by the way, the Seahawks do not have a good offensive line either.
They never do.
No,
they never do.
They got some solid players on that offensive
line.
They're
better than they have been, but they're still not great.
But you saw yesterday what happens when you get the Byron Youngs of the world and the Kobe Turners and all them. And they can get the Darnold. It's
different. Yeah.
That whole pumpkin thing.
You get to any quarterback. That's the thing that frustrates me when they attack quarterbacks who have like Goff here, like Darnold there. No quarterback plays well when they're pressured. No, there's none. There's never been a history. Tom Brady lost to the Giants twice in the Super Bowl, games he should have won.
Because of their pressure.
Patrick Mahomes, 3 of his worst games are Super Bowl games. 3 of his worst games in his career.
Did you get to watch any of the Chiefs Broncos yesterday? Mahomes was rattled all day long.
Another example, and that's a regular season.
By the way, that might be the team I would pick to beat the Eagles in a Super Bowl because of their pressure. Denver.
Can somebody point to a quarterback under siege at any point that played well?
Jalen Hurts is literally at any against the blitz.
Well, I mean, I think
I'm not talking against blitz. People carve up the blitz anytime. I'm talking about a team that is whipping your ass up front and not shitty blitzes because people blitz like Flores is going to blitz 60% of the time and 30% of them are going to be shitty blitzes. And if you take advantage of it.
By the way, today you should pat yourself on the back for JJ McCarthy again. He's terrible.
I've stopped talking about JJ because I feel bad for the kid at this point.
I wish Justin Jefferson would go AJ Brown on JJ.
Well, he can't play. It's not his fault that they drafted. They made a mistake. I blame O'Connell and Kwesi, the GM. He can't play. He can't play.
Yeah,
and then he scored a touchdown late, and that's another team. Then so they went up. They completely outplayed 3.5 minutes, and all of a sudden they're up a point with 50 seconds, and they give up a long kickoff return. They lose, which isn't his fault. And he had a nice drive at the end of the game, and people are going to latch onto that and say, "Oh, see, he did this." He played 50 minutes of egregious football, egregious before that.
The NFC playoff picture is becoming very interesting, by the way. The Lions are currently out. The Panthers are 6-5 as the Niners. The 49ers got back in. They're 7-4 right now, and their quarterback's back. I really don't know who's going to make it. Who's going to be that 7? I'm assuming it's going to be Detroit, but they got to play the Packers again. They got to play the Bears again.
They better get some damn people healthy, Detroit. I'll tell you that. That Laporta injury really crippled him. Really crippled him. Like, he's their third down guy. He's their fourth down guy too, and he's a matchup nightmare.
They might have to go to Jahmyr Gibbs like 30 times a game.
And then you start to wear him down. You don't want to do that. That's a big loss for them. That is a really big loss. And I don't know. He's going to be out at least 4 games.
Have you ever seen a team just completely shut down Amon-Ra St. Brown like the Eagles did?
Not recently, certainly.
That's the best route runner in football.
Yeah.
And they shut him down.
Yeah, well, a lot of that was the pressure up front, man, because he wasn't even at his spot yet, and Goff had to get rid of the football.
Well, he had a drop too. Even when he won, he had a drop. It's the game.
Yeah, everybody has bad games. There's not a player who's played football that hasn't had a bad game.
I forget who the Lions play next week, but I pity their opponent.
I don't know who they play, but
yeah, they got the Packers on Thanksgiving. That's not their next opponent.
Yeah, I have to look up who they're playing, but I don't know. I think they're going to struggle without Laporta. I do. I do.
And the 49ers, I know the Cardinals stink, and the 49ers are pretty good with Brock Purdy back.
They played the Giants. You're right. The Giants are in trouble.
If you ever want to get your season right, play the Giants. Even when you lose to the Giants, if you want to get your season right, play the Giants.
Right. Yeah, I think the biggest positive, we just talked about a bunch of other quarterbacks. I think the biggest positive about, even Jalen here is like his bad games are just like, whose bad game would you rather have? Jalen's 14-28 or Darnold's 4 picks, and I think that's where
don't turn the ball over. Jalen Hurts.
That's my whole point. That's my whole point. So you're going to have the higher ups. So Jeff is the one who asked me the question. Would the Eagles coaching staff rather, I think you used Herbert, would the Eagles coaching staff rather have Justin? And I said, if you put truth serum in him, they'd rather have Justin Herbert. And then you asked me, and I thought it was an astute question, would they win more or lose more? And my answer was they would lose more.
Look at Justin Herbert yesterday.
There's another. He doesn't have his tackles, so he doesn't have Joe Alt, and he doesn't have Rashawn Slater, and he's
and Mekhi Becton's beat up too.
Yeah,
that whole team's beat up.
So quarterbacks can't play if they're not protected. None of them. But the larger point is, to the fans, they have to ask themselves a question: what would you rather do? Legitimate. Would you rather look good, or would you rather win? Because they would look a hell of a lot better with Justin Herbert playing quarterback. Would they be winning as much? I doubt it, because then the Eagles would go away from this risk-averse philosophy because they say, well, our quarterback's too good. We got to take advantage of him. And they start throwing the ball all over the lot. And here's, somebody gets beat and, tip ball and yada, yada, yada. The ball's going the other way. Be careful what you wish for, man.
Yeah. Look, Justin Herbert was rattled yesterday. I want to get this point about the Jaguars. I think they're going to make it. I think they're going to make the playoffs. They got some big wins in there.
Possible. It's a shit show over in the AFC.
Oh, it is. And the Jaguars are currently a 7th seed, and they had the tiebreaker over the Chiefs. Chiefs need
I
a lot
don't
of
want
help.
I don't want the Chiefs in the playoffs. I'm very upfront about that.
I don't think
can't
they're going to make it right
I
now.
don't think they're going to make it either.
I can't stand watching that team anymore. Can't stand.
You know, the Chiefs have to play the Colts. The Colts can really put a death nail in that. Death nail in the coffin. Yeah, death nail in the coffin. It's
Who do you think are the biggest threats to the Eagles? It almost feels like there's
yeah. I mean, the team that beat them, I guess, Denver, but they have 14-point lead in the fourth
Nah.
quarter.
I'm much more worried about the Rams than Denver.
Yeah, I am too. And look, I don't think the Rams are that great. Matthew Stafford's the MVP of this league.
I agree.
And I don't think there's any way Bo Nix gets through the playoffs, even the AFC playoffs, to make the Super Bowl.
Could it be Eagles Patriots again?
Maybe.
Yeah, in theory, Patriots are sneaky. They have a good coach.
I think,
but again,
and Denver are a better chance to win the AFC than the Patriots. But
Vic
I still say
Fangio,
don't sleep on the Bills.
I'll take Vic Fangio confusing Drake May for 100.
Don't sleep on the Bills, especially if the Chiefs don't make it. It might be their year.
Yeah, I'm sleeping on the Bills. I'm in a coma with the Bills.
Yeah, it's like
Josh Allen has to be Superman
to win.
Yeah.
The guy had 6 touchdowns yesterday. He's still the only quarterback ever in a regular season game to have 3 pass touchdowns and 3 rush touchdowns, and he's done it twice.
Yeah, he's unbelievable, but he's still a little bit too reckless to win the whole thing. And he has to be. Again, he has to be. Because he's got to be Superman for them to win.
John, let's play hypothetical. If the Ravens make it, if they find a way to win the AFC, they might not even have to win the AFC North to make it.
Well, I love the Ravens. I picked the Ravens again. They screwed me. They're going to win the division, I think.
They're 5-5 now. They were 1-5.
Although they played really poorly yesterday.
Oh, God. Well, if it wasn't for Shedeur Sanders, they would have lost.
Yeah, against Cleveland. And they had that nice
by the way, Myles Garrett is literally insane. What an insane
sacks over his last 3 games.
What an insane football player that guy.
What a waste of a football player, but yes, he is.
I know, it's so sad.
Did you see the fake tush push Baltimore ran with Andrews?
Oh, that was awesome. But Mark Andrews?
That was crazy.
It was awesome.
Mark Andrews is fast, by the way. That was a heck of
a move. He's faster than people think. I don't know why more teams don't do that, by the way.
The Eagles did it with DeAndre Swift a couple times.
No, I mean move tight ends. Like if you don't have Jalen Hurts, I'm not talking about the Eagles. I'm talking about average teams who don't have quarterbacks that can move the pile. Because a lot of college teams do it. I remember when Mitchell Evans did it. The first time I saw it, it's probably done elsewhere. First time I saw it was Notre Dame with Mitchell Evans. And it was unbelievable. Big tight end who felt comfortable taking the snap, and they would just convert at will. I'm surprised more teams don't do that.
I think they had an audible in there too. They had a guy lined up like he was going to catch a pass. I think Mark Andrews was going to throw it, and he would have been open. I think that was the second read.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you can throw it, but I'm just saying the quarterback sneak. I mean, use a tight end.
Yeah, Dallas Goedert can do it.
Hurts is really good.
Well, the Eagles don't have to. I'm saying for teams that don't have.
Yeah, I mean, not only does Hurts have the build, but he's actually really good at it too.
Yeah,
like, I'm not sure a tight end.
I'm not advocating that for the Eagles. I'm saying
I know that. I'm saying in general. I mean, you would think taking a big tight end maybe would work as well. I don't know if.
By the way, my guy Dan Campbell always had the winning attitude. I always liked Dan Campbell when he was a player. I thought he was crazy. I'll share a little story about him and Jeremy Shockey a little later here. But the fact that Dan Campbell and the Lions voted in favor of that play and said, well, no, it's up to us to stop it. Oh, did they do a good job at doing that? It's funny when you don't have a losing attitude toward things.
Yeah, well, I think that's part of it. To Nick's point, I love Nick's quote last night. It was like he was watching football and teams were waiting to lose. I mean, I see that every week.
Yeah.
I have that mentality. It's like, oh, we scored too
I mean,
early.
somebody can make the argument on that the Eagles too, though. I mean, with the ineptness of the offense, if Detroit had one more of those drives where they went 2 plays, 74 yards and a touchdown, maybe you're looking at a different outcome. Now they didn't, but I'm just saying you could make that argument about the way they play so conservatively. If a
I'm
team
not talking about one game. I'm talking about they think they're going to win. I know they think they're going to win. I know that 100,000,000% because they think that nobody should beat them. I use that term all the time. A lot of hubris with that organization. A lot of they think they're going to win every fucking game. You ask them about matchups. They're not worried about any matchups with the exception of Myles Garrett and Micah Parsons. That's the 2 players I could come up. And Aaron Donald previously. That was it.
And they only get to play Myles Garrett once every 4 years outside of joint practice.
Everybody else, they're like, you worried about that? You worried about no, not really.
All right, Jeff, I got a question for you here on the offensive coaching staff. John, don't pollute. All right, let me hear what Jeff has to say.
He can pollute.
I don't pollute.
He can pollute.
But go ahead. I won't pollute.
We give Vic a lot of credit for how good the defense is. The offense, not so good. How much of it do you put on the coaches? And we're obviously not a show here that comes up here and says, oh, it's all Kevin Patullo at all. Do you think the offensive coaches are not doing a great job? How much of the blame, I guess, is for lack of a better word, do you put on them for how the offense has looked? And just what kind of context would you add to that?
I mean, there's a couple things. Just watching the game on TV last night, do the Eagles know how to run a route tree? Is that like a thing? I know I'm Monday morning quarterbacking here, but it just feels like it's either a go ball or a quick slant, and that's all they got. And I don't know if that's coaching. I don't know if that's a scheme, but that's just an observation. But overall, again, it's hard for me to blame a coach when the offensive line is having trouble pass protecting. They're having trouble run blocking. I don't know if Saquon is. It seems like he lost his step. I don't know. It seems like A.J. Brown's lost his step. Don't know. The elements in play with the weather. I'll be honest, I really don't have an answer. I really don't. It's so easy to blame Patullo, but there's so much more at play here.
It's fair.
Yeah, I agree with that. Execution, people hate it, but that's what matters more. And on both sides of the football. Here's what I like about Dan Campbell. I was just reading his quotes on the pass interference call on Rock Sin. Coming back home, by the way, Temple guy gets screwed.
Yeah. Well, I thought Rock had a good game, man.
He said Temple tough on the broadcast last night.
Did he?
Yeah, they did the roll call.
So he's asked about the pass interference call, which was, let's be honest, that was a brutal call, but it is what it is. But I like the way he handled it. He said, yeah, I thought he played defense like he did the whole game. I thought he challenged and played it like he did the very first rep, and we played man-to-man. So I wouldn't tell him to do anything different. Get up there and challenge player style, and that's it. Can't do anything about it. I mean, he gets screwed. Bad calls, good.
Yeah.
That's a bad look for the NFL, though, because there's a lot of, you're taking away. I say this about a lot of NFL games. People think it's an exciting product. I maintain, watch the Madrid game. It is not an exciting product.
That was a terrible game. Terrible game.
So you play. I think the secret to the NFL is you play 55 minutes of poor football, and then the games are close and they're exciting at the end, and people come out of it saying, hey, that was pretty cool. And they had
that's the attention span of today's society, too.
And they had a chance to have that last night. With again, I think the Eagles defense would have held up, but they took it. You gotta let the players decide that game. Yeah. You can't call that play.
But I hated that. I hated how the call was made. It's just look. It was a defensive struggle the entire night for both. Offensive struggle, sorry, but defensive slugfest the entire night for both. And look, I don't want to see an official throw their flag in that situation, especially on a call like that.
But the Dan Campbell, what I like about Dan Campbell is, that's what football coaches say. Control what you can control. All right, you got screwed, you move on. That's all you can do.
Yeah. I've been a part of it. I helped coach basketball. Varsity basketball. I've been a part of it. We were screwed in the game by the refs. First thing we told the kids, it's not their fault. So again, control what you can control. It is
It's
what
part
it
of it.
is. Yeah, it
Jeff,
is.
what did you make of Sirianni's decision at the end of the game last night?
Yeah, can you believe we went like 40 minutes without talking about this? What
Well,
was
they
he
won.
doing? Yeah,
They
yeah,
won.
yeah. But I'm thinking to myself, I understand it. Look, I heard him say this. John was in the room when this happened, that he would go for in this situation. You don't believe him until he does it, but he's just like, man, Nick, you haven't converted the last 4 of these. You sure you want to do this? Punt the ball. They weren't scoring. You gave them 3 points. I don't know. The last 2 games, his 4th down decisions are, yeah, that's all I got.
By the way, Ed Kratz is telling me it's pass interference. Homer Ed Kratz. That's what I'm going to call it.
Homer Ed.
That was not pass.
Homer Jeff thinks NFL officials suck. So
Is Ed listening to the show? Is that why he texted
I
you?
don't think he is, but no, because he's texting me. Probably doesn't realize I'm on the air, but he says it was pass interference.
that's not in the group chat, is it?
No,
Come on, man. Ed, that was
if
not
Ed's listening, you're getting ripped. We're ripping you.
that was not pass interference, but it is what it is. I think it was more the spot that was annoying about it. You know what I mean? Just let him play at that point. But whatever, it is what it is. At that point. All right, Jeff. I mean, another win for this team over another great opponent. Like I said earlier, I'm having a sense of enlightenment. If the Lions aren't going to get us when we play bad offensively, nobody's going to get us when we play bad offensively, especially if that defense is looking like that.
I would have laughed at 2 things going into the season. If you had told me the Eagles would have held the Lions and Packers to a combined 16 points, I would have been like, yeah, okay. Oh, and the Eagles would go 2-0 against them. I'd be like, I could see it, but no, it's not going to happen. I thought they were going to lose the game in Lambeau and then beat Detroit. And I picked them to beat Detroit this week just because they just don't seem to lose against good teams anymore or against anybody. So, yeah, it's just amazing what one player can do for a defense, and how Howie Roseman tried to get this player for months on at a time, and I crucified him for not getting that player, and he finds a way to get one. Look,
He
give
knew.
Howie,
He's known for a very long
yeah.
time. He needed a rusher. Just
Yeah.
it's not. You just don't click your fingers and get one. You got to
Yeah,
wait
that's
for
a-
desperation.
That's why I was so up in arms over. Oh, the Eagles are going to trade AJ Brown at the deadline. No, the Eagles do not trade great players midseason. They acquire great players midseason.
Well,
They're not
Jalen's
going
a good player.
Yeah.
Well, they
Jalen
usually
Hurts is a
don't
really good
acquire. They
player.
usually acquire below average.
Jannard
players.
Avery. It's usually Jannard
Robert
Avery.
Quinn. This is the
By the way,
first time they've gotten. A lot of people go back to Jay Ajayi. Jay Ajayi did a nice job with this team, and
He was a good
obviously
player though when he got traded here.
he was a good
I
player.
mean, his
but
knees were
he's
out,
not-
but
this time they got a true difference maker. I mean,
yes.
a big time player.
Can the
Miami,
Eagles hand
be
the Super
ashamed
Bowl
of
ring to the Dolphins?
I know.
for that-
Miami should be ashamed of themselves for giving that player to this team. Ashamed.
This is the same Dolphins franchise. I know it's been different regimes, but they gave the Eagles a 2nd-round pick for AJ Feely. They took Byron Maxwell's contract off their hands. They traded for Kiko Alonso, who wasn't a bad player for them, but they got Kiko Alonso off their books. It's Jay Ajayi, Jalen Phillips. Dolphins, they're like a feeder system.
Yeah. And they gave him Jay, as you said. I'm still going back and forth in it. I told him we ripped him. And he said, for this? And I said, yeah. So I called him home. But anyway.
Over it.
Yeah.
All right, Jeff, last one for me.
It was more, by the way, it was more OPI than DPI. If you were going to call something, AJ pushed off.
I actually thought the flag was on AJ.
And I wouldn't have called AJ either, but it was more OPI than DPI.
John, when you get a chance, I know people don't like Chris Collinsworth, but I love hearing from good NFL receivers when they play. Very good NFL receivers when they played on a play like that. And Collinsworth was beside himself. I'm like, you know what, Chris? That's really good analysis on this whole thing. just from a guy who I don't think people realize how good Chris Collinsworth was when he played.
I like Chris. I think people are obnoxious.
I
about
love
him.
Chris Collinsworth.
Yeah,
I don't know
Oh,
why
he's
people
good.
hate him.
I don't
He's
know
good.
why people hate any. I think there's a lot of good analysts.
I do
Troy
too.
Aikman's really good.
Troy's
I
great.
love
think
I
a lot of-
love listening to Tom. I
Tom's
love
great.
I love Romo, even though they cut him off at the knees. Bateman's
AJ Watt's
good.
really good too.
I haven't heard as much of him. Olsen's tremendous.
Olsen's amazing.
Olsen's the best one they got. It's
I know.
it's amazing. Like Greg Olsen called an awesome Super Bowl. Oh yeah, you're benched because Tom Brady wants to be a broadcaster.
Hey, that happens. It's not fair because Greg's phenomenal, but I mean, Tom's Tom, and Tom's been very good. I
Yeah.
would say if I had to rate analyst, I would say Olsen's number one.
Yeah.
I think that's
If
how
I'm a
good
new
he is.
broadcast partner, say someone gets the international package when that comes available, or Netflix decides to get more inventory, I'm calling Greg Olsen right away.
Yeah, he's great. He's great. I think he understands the modern game better than just
Yeah.
about it. Maybe not better than Tom, but he,
Yeah.
you know.
I'm a big Kirk Herbstreit fan. I don't like him covering the NFL.
No,
I'd
it's
love to see
weird to
Greg
me.
Olsen
I
in that
agree.
role.
He's a college guy. I'm like,
I'm a little Kirk
He
guy.
is.
I'm not gonna lie to you, but all right, Jeff.
I love his
me.
dog. I love his dog. I'm a dog.
Oh, his dog's awesome. And you know what's funny, guys? The Al Michaels Kirk Herbstreit pairing is actually pretty good. It's just weird.
Al's getting too old, man. I mean, I hate to be an
He's
ageist
still
because
great,
I'm
though,
old, but
He's still great.
he's starting to
He
slip.
still has his fastball though.
I agree,
He
Jeff.
was pretty good
I
on
don't
Thursday night.
I think
all
that
right.
Amazon broadcast is amazing, and
I'm
he's really good.
an old guy, so I'm allowed to be an ageist. I'm being an ageist. We've
All
had
right,
enough.
let's play the broadcasting game here. Do we think Ian Eagle is going to be Al Michaels' replacement at Amazon? Because he's already there.
Maybe.
I mean, he's there calling the NBA.
And don't get me wrong, whoever replaces him won't be as good, but it happens to everybody. It happened to Vince Scully. It happened to Harry Callis here. It happens to everybody. At some point, it's just
Harry
like
definitely
players.
lost his fastball the last couple years. Like
Yeah.
Tom McCarthy was like kind of a breath of fresh air when he took. I know it sucks. Harry Callis passed away the way he did, but I always wondered how long Harry was going to do it because part of me thought he was going to retire after 08. That's just not a broadcaster's mentality, but. Yeah, Harry was not Harry.
It's not an insult. They're great. They're legends. But you
Yeah.
know how old was Vin when he stopped? I mean, my God,
89. See, here's why I never want him to retire. I like listening to him, and I know I'm never going to listen to him again. Keith Jackson, Al Michaels. Look, I'm a NASCAR guy.
What do you guys?
Everybody
think
wants
of
my
Gus
joy out.
Johnson, college
Yeah.
football. Well, he's over the top, man.
Gus Johnson sucks. I'm sorry.
He's over the top. I'm like,
You know. To me,
it
I'm
sounds
in this Harry
manufactured to
Danielson.
me. It
I'm
sounds
in this Harry Danielson
manufactured.
after this year.
Yeah, Nestler's good too. Is he still
Nestler's
doing
good.
it?
Yeah, it's Nestler and Danielson on CBS.
Yeah,
Charles
they're
Davis is
good.
going to take. Charles Davis is going to take over for
Danielson gets on
Danielson.
my nerves every once in a while, but they're good.
Yeah.
I
No
like most
Eagle.
of them.
And,
None of them really bother me that much. I mean, I always laugh
Yeah.
at people who people make it their mission to come at Chris Collinsworth or these guys. I'm like,
Yeah.
guys, if he's calling a game, it's okay. All right, Jeff. Last question for me comes courtesy of somebody in the chat. Brandon Snyder, $10 super chat for Jeff. Look at this. Jeff, can you explain to me how Jalen Hurts can look like Warren Moon throwing the ball in the Super Bowl and in a few other instances throughout his career, yet he looks pedestrian at best all the other times?
a good thing the Super Bowl's in the dome most of the time, so that's why he can look like Warren Moon. But look, I just think this is a guy who just steps up when the lights are brightest. I thought he had an atrocious first half, by the way. I'm like, would it shock anybody here at Jalen Hurts was like decent in the second half or above average? Because that's just how he plays. He has the highest passer rating in the third quarter of the league this year, the highest passer rating in third down. I think he has one of the highest passer ratings in the second half in the league this year. Look, the guy it's the risk averse theory.
I'm glad you brought that up because I say it all the time, but I haven't said it today. There's a perfect example. Jared Goff didn't have it. He didn't have it. The whole freaking game, he didn't have it.
Yep.
Jalen Hurts plays bad, then he'll make 3-4 plays and beat you. It's rare. It's very rare.
He
So
didn't really do that last night. I mean, I guess he made the play to Dotson. That was a really nice play.
I
it
really
wasn't, but he's done it multiple times where he's
Yeah,
had
okay.
bad game. It looks like shit, and then he makes a play.
I really think when it's all said and done with this quarterback, and Philadelphia knows, but I think everybody around the league's going to be like, when you look at Jalen Hurts' career, like, man, all the guy did is win.
I can't
Troy
wait for
Aikman
that.
did.
I can't wait for that Hall of Fame conversation. That'll be well
Well,
structured.
what idiom do you think he'll have for us for the Hall of Fame when he gets in?
Say that again. What
What Jalen Hurts saying will we get
Oh,
when he
God.
ever gets in?
I
had
don't
a
know.
purpose before people had an opinion.
He's got so many T-shirt slogans. He's got a Rolodex, and it keeps growing.
Do you think you guys think he like collects them? You think he like writes them down throughout the week or something?
Sure.
Oh, you know he does.
Well, football people love quotes. They all have that. He's not alone.
And Jameis Winston's a quote machine.
Yeah,
Jameis Winston's fucking hilarious. I love that.
Did you hear him yesterday when the Giants scored on the tush push? Or no, they didn't score, but they got like 10 yards, and he's like, ban it. I'm like, oh my God.
By the way, the Lions did a heck of a job against the tush push. Best team
That's
ever.
why I like Dan Campbell.
One thing they did.
Right.
I love Dan
trying
Campbell.
to pitch it out of the game, he says, "I'll stop it."
Yeah, I love Dan Campbell. From day one, so I got to get to this Dan Campbell story. I got to ask this guy this. I've heard a story about him that when he was teammates with Jeremy Shockey with the Giants in 2002, him and Jeremy Shockey would eat dirt off the ground before games, like eat legit dirt. And they played the Eagles on Monday Night Football at the Vet, and they were looking for turf to eat on that freaking cement. I want to hear if that happened and how they did it, because those two are insane.
Well, Dan certainly is.
Well, so is Shockey. They were perfect teammates.
He's a playmaker. Campbell was like a big dumb oaf, but Shockey
who played for every team the Eagles fans hate: the Giants, the Cowboys.
But he's turned into a very good coach, even though
I would love to play for Dan Campbell. I'd love to play for him. That guy can just motivate.
Yeah, but you know what? You know what? They're always banged up.
They are.
You know, and
they're too busy biting kneecaps.
Yeah, they're biting kneecaps. Yeah, they might need to tone it down a little bit.
Oh, Brian Branch got hurt trying to be dumb when he hit Jahan Dotson last night.
What do you mean?
Brian Branch always gets hurt.
Yeah, he always gets hurt.
What do you mean trying to be dumb?
Well,
he launched in the Dotson. He did not need to do how he did.
Yeah, I don't think
he's a hard hitter. He's a hard.
He
That's
is,
how he plays.
But I thought there was a way he could have just put like this is why these guys get hurt. By the way, it's the way they play.
See, I don't agree with that. They used to play a lot tougher, and they didn't get.
Oh, I know they did, but they but
I think they come up and it's like they've been taught to. All right, you got hit in the head, so go in the tent. Whereas, back in the, not that it's good, but back in the old days, hey, you rang your bell, get the hell back in there. There was a tougher mentality. It was a Dan Campbell mentality.
Yeah, I'm telling you, Dan Campbell's one of those guys. I liked him when he played, when he was the head coach. Remember he was an interim head coach for the Dolphins, and like the Dolphins were not half bad. I'm like, how's this guy not getting head coaching looks? And he finally got one.
Got to fit the suit, man. I was joking that Stefanski is going to get another job because he's got a nice beard. He's got the nice coaching beard. That'll get you a job. That's all that matters.
Dan Campbell's the Sean Payton disciple. He should get a job just based on that merit.
Yeah. If you got the nicely manicured beard, you're getting multiple head coaches.
Didn't Aaron Glenn come from that Saints team when Dan Campbell plunked him?
I'd have to look. Probably.
I think Johnny Morton was whoever the offensive. Yeah, I'm trying to think of the John Morton. I think he was on that Saints team. I think he was on that Saints team too.
Yeah, John Morton, by the way, got play calling taken away. Is Dan going to take it away after that performance? Come on.
Dan might take it away from himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. All right, Jeff. Good stuff, man. Appreciate you joining in today. Got to run. I got a bunch here to talk about with J-Mac. We appreciate you doing it, man. We'll talk to you again next week. All right, brother?
Yep, sounds great. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, bud. Cowboys week. Cowboys week.
Big one, no doubt. There's Jeff Kerr joining us right here on Birds 365. Great stuff from Jeff Kerr. Appreciate him being here. Appreciate everybody for being here. Hit that like button on the show. We got plenty of super chats. We will get to all of them here today on the show. Appreciate everybody. As always, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. We appreciate that. Birds get the win yesterday, moved to 8-2 on the year. John, they just keep winning, man. They just keep winning no matter how it looks. The Eagles in a great spot, John, coming off a big win versus the Detroit Lions, now with the Cowboys on the horizon.
Yeah. I've had, you got to talk yourself into somebody being competitive against this team, I guess, at this point. But they have had a history of struggling down there. So it'll be a nicer environment. Maybe we'll finally see some offense. Because Dallas can generally score some points, but struggles defensively. So keep talking about it, potentially. But the weather showed up in Green Bay. The weather showed up here. Nice environment. Maybe we'll see some offense.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe, Johnny Mac. I don't know. I'm not going to count on it, but it could be coming. Let's go to some super chats, John. We got to get to the great people. Look at this. Kyle Studer, $50. Kyle, thank you, man. I appreciate the support of the channel and the show. As always, means a lot. We appreciate everybody for supporting the show. Kyle says, just win. I don't give a shit that Baker Mayfield threw 41 touchdowns last year. I want to win. Jalen's first Super Bowl, best player on the field. We lost the game. People forget that winning is all that matters until they start losing. Kyle, thank you for the super chat, brother. I think it's a good point.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the people are greedy. It's human nature. They want it both. They want to win and they want style points. But my question is, which one do you really want?
Yeah, but it is fair to have some level of expectation. Okay, you can say now that we're greedy because we're winning so much and we want better. But before the winning or putting that on the shelf for a second, it isn't unfair to expect a little bit more from an offense that's paid like they are, that's talked about like they are, that's got the talent that they have. I know you've started to shed light on they're not as good as everybody thinks they are, but
well, that's just demonstrated performance.
Fair,
I mean, whether you want to call it, and I know what people want to blame the coaching staff. I think let's be honest. They could score a lot of points with a certain style of quarterback, but they don't play that style of football. So that's why I say, again, what do you want? What do you really want? I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to fans in general. And this is not a Philadelphia-centric thing. It's not fair that when you're a good team, as New England was for many years, as the Eagles are now, it's not bad to have higher expectations of yourself. That I'd argue that's a good thing. And the Eagles have pretty high expectations of themselves. I don't think that's necessarily bad, but the idea in this bad teams, fan bases still want to win, and they want to win while they're looking good. It's just human nature more than anything else. The Eagles have found a way to win by being ball security conscious. Extra ball security conscious. They found a cheat code and it's working. 588 passes, 2 interceptions. I'd say it's working. Doesn't always look pretty. You're not going to take a lot of chances. So it's going to be a slog.
Yeah, and we're getting late in the year now, John. We're going into week 12 here. So it's like, through the first couple of weeks, you could be like, yeah, I got a lot of way to go. We got a lot of people on the schedule. Well, we're knocking down the pins left and right. I mean, I remember, John, late in the year last year, you were like, there's not that many more wins to be had, so they can certainly get there. Not at that point yet, but certainly getting closer, especially considering some of the teams that we've beat this year, all the best teams really in the NFC, as Jeff Kerr pointed out. So good stuff there. I appreciate it. Here's JD3. What's up, JD? Rossini might as well have headlined it. Carson Wentz without the religion. J-Mac told us that news weeks ago. That was months ago.
I probably shouldn't have said it that way. But what I meant by that, because people get upset, what I meant by that is Carson's a very religious person. And I don't know if Jalen is or isn't. I don't even want to, because he might, that might be insulting to him as well. I probably shouldn't have phrased it like that. What I meant to say was they're very similar personality-wise from the standpoint of how others are reacting to them. That's all I meant to say. So there's a little, with Jalen, there's a little aloofness, or that's what it's considered, or that's how he comes across. I think you could see that as fans. And players feel the same way. Some, not everybody, but some players feel the same way. That's it. It's not that big of a deal. It's not, I say it all the time. Round up the next 70 people you meet, see if they all get along. Not going to happen. Never going to happen. I don't know why people think football teams it's any different.
Certainly a little bit of a bigger importance there, though, when you're the leader of the offense, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's a position that demands leadership by its very nature. So you do, and he does a lot of good leadership things as far as on the field and things like that. But there is a part of that position where Nick describes it from his perspective. He knows, like, everybody wants a piece of his time. So he tries to include everybody. He tries to glad hand everybody, for lack of a better term. It's almost like a politician. Everybody wants a piece of your time. Josh Shapiro was out there yesterday taking photographs with the fans. Not quite to that level, but you have to be part politician as well when you're an NFL quarterback.
It's true. Maybe an under talk.
And by the way, that's not only to the outside world, which I think he handles fine in front of the camera and all that, but to the inside as well.
Here's Blaze. Blaze is pushing back on you, John. He says, since when are our expectations to score 20 points with this offense? This shit is pathetic. Way too much talent to not score, especially on bad defenses.
Well, again, the last 2 weeks, I don't know if you played bad defenses, certainly not Green Bay. You could argue what Detroit is, but they have some good players. They're just banged up. But I don't think you're factoring the weather. They didn't score either, Green Bay or Detroit, to a lesser degree.
That's good context, but you gave that at the start of the show.
So, and then the part of just everybody defaults to that, and I ask a simple question. Where's the demonstrated performance of this great offense? You can go back to 2022. That's as close as you're going to get.
Yeah.
They played a different style. Even back then, they played a different style of offense. Where's the demonstrated performance in the Saquon Barkley era with this passing offense? You're just making it up.
Yeah, you're right. We're buying the talent assembled, I think, is but you're right. There's no demonstrated performance of it. Blaze, the only thing I would push back on you here is the Lions are not a bad defense, and neither are the Packers. So that's the
Packers have a great defense.
Yeah, amazing.
The Lions are good when they're healthy. They're not healthy.
But still, they're still a solid defense. I mean, they're not.
It's not terrible.
Not
by no means is it terrible.
No, Jack Campbell's a good player. Those corner. I thought Rock Ya-Sin had a great game. I mean, he was in man coverage on AJ.
So did the other corner.
The other guy, Meek Robertson.
Yeah, Meek. I love Meek Robertson.
He's good.
I think he's a good player. They just threw him out there.
You said that when we talked about Arnold. Yeah, you did.
He's that's one where they kind of didn't know what they had, threw him out there, and he's pretty damn good. He's a cover guy.
Fair enough. Philly Eagle says, does Jalen have a problem playing in cold weather games? The past two games, he's missing easy throws, and the ball appears to be heavy leaving his hands. I think it's fair, and it was something we talked about before the last game, and has looked that way in the last two. John, your thoughts on it?
Well, again, did the other quarterback struggle? I think everybody struggles more.
Yeah, right.
That again, yes, partially everybody struggles more, including Jalen Hurts. Nobody wants to play in that, but do the Eagles typically? Again, there's 3 years where Philadelphia's not nice in January generally. Now he was 2017's not, but 2022 and 2024. 22, it ran through Philadelphia. 24, it ended up running through Philadelphia. They generally win games, so I mean, but does he play as well as he does in a pristine environment? I don't think anybody does. Anybody. Why would they?
Fair enough. Here's Alexander Harris. What's up, Harris? Appreciate it, brother. Jalen Phillips is amazing. He had a good game against Penei Sewell. I loved what you said in the postgame show last night, John. You can't let Phillips walk, and they're going to have to switch some of that money to the defense. Agreed. I think that's becoming very
well. That's circumstance. I mean, Howie knows that, and he's explained it multiple times. It's circumstance. They have a lot of veteran players on offense that have played well, so they're on their second and third contracts. That's when you get paid in this league. So much of their talent on defense is still on rookie contracts. That was always going to change due to circumstance. Where you get into the difficult decisions is, when you talk about, well, you have Nakobe Dean versus Jahad Campbell. Well, you took Jahad Campbell in the first round. You're going to play him. I mean, that's just the reality of the situation. Long term, not short term. Eventually, when guys like Jalen Carter are up and Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean, they're going to have to pay him. And it's going to shift. And that means you got to take away from the offense, which, judging by its performance, maybe it's not that big of a deal. But we'll see how it shakes out.
Yep, no doubt. Harris, appreciate the super chat, my man. Here's Eduardo checking in, start of the show. Eduardo, thank you, brother. I'm spiking the ball on both of y'all today, gents. I told you, J-Mac, that Sonic and Knuckles wouldn't do much against JD and Carter. I told you, Zander, that our defense would hold the Lions to 10 points. Eduardo, fair enough, my friend. Fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, I still think that's a bad prediction, but, the weather turned your way. It helped. But, I still think they did a nice job against the Lions in the run game, no doubt about it. But Gibbs was still pretty impressive in space. Everybody was in awe of that dude. Everybody on your favorite team was in awe of that dude. They're like, oof.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm watching him run. He makes guys miss. It looks so easy. I mean, he just runs right around them. Yeah, you don't see that in the NFL.
You should have heard the defensive guys talking about him, man. Oof.
Sure they were. Yeah. No doubt. Eduardo, appreciate it, brother. Here's Black Panther. I hope this isn't true, but what if it's Jalen out there changing plays and not running the plays the offensive coordinator is calling?
No, not the case. Not the case. Impossible. I brought this up with the road conversation, and I saw my buddy Billy C. used to be on JAKIB Sports doing a good job over at the Fanatic. And even he says he probably should have worded it a different way. Like, when you talk about the 4th and 6th playing Green Bay, which is a bad decision by the quarterback, confirmation, challenge, and AJ probably changed the play at the line of scrimmage. They shouldn't have done it. But understand, he has that autonomy. He can do that. That's why. Think about it. If you're truly freelancing, if you're truly going rogue, and it's just Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown, well, how does the offensive line know to protect for that particular play? No, they knew because it's built into the play call.
Right.
Now, should he have done it in that situation? No. So, to me, it's as simple as that. It's a bad decision. It's impossible for an NFL quarterback to just make up shit on the fly, especially in the modern game. where everything is so structured. Everybody's got to be on the same page. And you see it. If anybody's freelancing, you see it more on defense because it's easier to freelance on defense. As a quarterback in the modern game, it's all about how much autonomy you have. Some quarterbacks are not capable of doing anything, so they don't even have the autonomy to run a different play. Jalen has gotten to the point where he's got that. Now, if he keeps making decisions like that, and maybe late in games, they'll take it away from him. But no, he's not out there changing plays. There's not an audible in the NFL that isn't built into the original play call.
Fair enough. Good stuff. Philly to Chicago checks in, says, J-Mac said it a long time ago. Adding a quality edge rusher would bring it all together, and has it ever. As good as the defense was, is as bad as the O was, though. Fair enough.
Yeah, they got their ace, man. They got their ace. And you see it like, Nolan still is on a pitch count, so I think he played like 20 reps yesterday. Jalen Hunt's still playing more because he's healthy. That's the best I ever saw Jalen Hunt play. And instead of Nolan being your ace, you got to throw out there every 5. Now you have a true ace, and he could be the number 2.
Yeah.
And Jalen can be the number 3, and all of a sudden everything falls into place.
I'm getting Jalen Phillips signed ASAP when the offseason comes.
They're not signing. Oh, yeah. Good. I'm glad you finished that. They're not signing him in season.
No.
If he continues to play like this, they'll bring him back.
Yeah. Here's Pizzaltz. What's up, Pizzaltz? Finally coming around to this is just who they are on offense. You and me both, Pizzaltz. It is what it is. Eagles have given themselves a huge cushion and have about every tiebreaker. I trust Jalen's play will elevate in the playoffs. The no-holes defense is way back. It really does look good, man. The defense is back.
Yeah, I mean, the past couple of weeks, and it's looked as good as it was last year, maybe even better in certain issues. We'll see if they can do it consistently. I do think, it's going to be, and again, 4th time I'll say it, I'll probably say it 5 more times. The weather had something to do with it. That had something to do with it. I do think in Dallas, you're going to have a pristine environment. Both offenses will play better. Dallas will play better than Green Bay and Detroit, and the Eagles will play better than the Eagles played in Green Bay and at Lincoln Financial Field. That's just the nature of playing indoors. I'll probably close that thing. In a pristine environment, it's just easier for the offense.
Yeah, probably will get some sun glare and.
Hey, you might get they might have to put the curtain up. But,
yeah, right.
Maybe you lose a football in the sun, but yeah, it's much easier to play offense there than it is in 30-degree temperatures with 40-mile-an-hour winds. I mean,
and here's Q the guy on. He says rain, sleet, or snow, fire Patullo.
Oh, I know. That is literally the worst thing you could do. I don't even care. You can fire him off after the season. If you did not learn by 2023 and Sean Desai, who was not prepared to be a defensive coordinator, but there's nothing you can do at that point. So if you want to fire him, fine. Wait to fire him in the offseason. Do not do it in season.
Do you think Kevin Patullo is prepared to be an offensive coordinator?
Yeah, I think he's fine. I don't think there's any issues.
You don't think he's like anywhere in the Desai realm?
No. I saw Howie Roseman telling Sean Desai what personnel groupings to throw in practice. No, Kevin is.
Did you get hired then?
That's a good question. It's a good question. Not prepared.
Wild.
Yeah, no.
Here's Vitality. He says Quinion.Mitchell. Yeah, he's amazing, dude. Quinion might be one of the best corners in football this year.
Yeah, he might be I think he's the best right now. Best cornerback in football.
Even with him playing a lot of zone?
Yeah, because so much of the Eagles is zone with man match coverage within
Right.
the zone. So it ends up, people don't even know if they're playing because it looks like man, even though it's zone. So and Vic deserves credit for coming up with that scheme as well, but the players deserve more credit because it's kind of freaking complicated, at least compared to other teams. And that's what you saw with Sean. Sean was trying to run the same thing, but he couldn't teach it. Vic knows how to teach it. Yeah, he's having a phenomenal year. Like early in the season, even he was getting away with a lot of shit. He's pulling jerseys,
He
and I
still gets
said,
away
"Well,
with it, for sure.
but then you start getting the reputation, and that's like what Rock Yassin, who also handled that PI call pretty well. He said, "Yeah, basically said I'm Rock Yassin, and that's AJ Brown. Sometimes the guy with the reputation is going to get the call,
Yeah, it's true.
and Quinyon's getting the reputation of being one of the best corners in football, and he's starting to get the benefit of the doubt, and that's going to make him even better. But he's a great player. Great player.
No doubt. Vitality, thank you, brother. Here's Black Baptist. Love y'all. Hard Knocks can't come soon enough. Black Baptist, love you too, brother. Appreciate it. I got news for you, though. I don't think the Eagles are going to allow much to be said in the Hard Knocks. Now they'll paint a picture. They'll do it, but
They'll definitely paint a picture.
I don't think the Eagles organization is going to allow too much to be in that thing.
Yeah, I don't know how they work that thing.
I'm pretty sure the team can nix anything, can't they?
I don't know, but I've checked out on Hard Knocks a long time ago. Got very formulaic. I said that last week.
Yeah,
it's basically the same show every week, every year. So, and everybody, I'm there every day. I see what's going on. I don't need to see
for you. It makes sense,
but it'll be fun for the fans, no doubt about it.
Josh B says going to be a Denver versus Eagles Super Bowl, and it's going to be so boring. LOL.
It might be, but the Eagles are going to win that one. They're not going to lose the rematch. You should hope for a Eagles Denver Super Bowl. That's going to be an easy.
He's a good coach.
Probably not as easy as last year's, but that's going to be an easy one.
Here's Sean Shooter. Quick jerk and Allen. May is better. Pat 6. Oh, come on, Shooter. Brandon got down. Bird Gang says whether AJ gets 3 targets or 11, this offense is still dog shit. Yeah, I agree. And that's why I don't like people who are like, you target AJ, look at what happens. It's like whether they targeted AJ or not, the offense blows. Nothing changed.
Yeah, I think the offense ineffectiveness or blows or however you want to describe it is related to the philosophy more than anything else of how they play.
Agreed. Here's Pumper. Old man Hurts got our offense in shambles. Buddy airmails everything. Send this dude to permanent timeout on the bench. Tanner got this.
You don't bench quarterbacks who've won how many
27 games.
Yeah. You don't and have the top seed in the NFC. That's not when you bench quarterbacks. I mean, come on, Pump. You gotta wait for a couple losses, buddy, before you push the Tanner train.
Yeah, a lot of people are. We had some people in the post game last night, John, that were calling for it. Here's Zeal. Eagles don't beat themselves. They are with the penalties, killing this offense with all the 3rd and longs they cause. What is the issue, and what are they doing to address it? It's fair enough. A lot of penalties, John, right now for this team.
Well,
offensive penalties.
A couple false starts on tush pushes.
Yep.
No.
Blaine got called on a play. Milata
got caught on holding. I mean, holding is, when the quarterback tries to escape, they should be called for holding more than they are. I don't know why people are complaining, because when the quarterbacks, you can't see as an offensive lineman which way he's going. So generally, this happens all over the league. You can watch other games where the quarterback escapes, and the offensive lineman, and all of a sudden the defensive lineman is trying to disengage because he sees the quarterback, and and all of a sudden you're caught holding because you have no idea where the freaking quarterback is going. Yeah, I don't see them. You watch other games, man. This fucking league is over legislated. There's penalties all over the place. It's a shit show. You either get a big kickoff return or there's a penalty, one or the other. And usually, a lot of times, there's a big kickoff return that gets called back. There's so many special teams penalties. Trotter got caught twice. This is not rare. This happens to every team.
Zeal, thank you, brother, for the chat. Here's Blaze. I think I read that one already. Yeah, we did. Tyler says, I don't think it's unfair to ask the offense to do what they are supposed to do, to generate points when the defense is giving you multiple chances to do so.
All right, you've got the best offense in this generation. And I'm saying this too much, but I'm going to say it again. The Detroit Lions have the best offense of this generation of football, or this span, whatever you want to call it, 4 years. The best offense by far. They scored 31 points a game coming into last night. You don't think the weather had anything to do with that? Now, the Eagles did a phenomenal job.
Well, the weather did have something to do with it, but don't we have a much larger sample size that the offense has been pretty bad?
Yeah, the Eagles, because of their risk-averse philosophy. But the point I'm trying to bring up with the Lions is, guess what? They had a bad game too. Green Bay had a bad game too. Green Bay and Detroit had worse games offensively than the Eagles. They had better offenses, in theory. Green Bay, top 10 offense coming into that game. Detroit, top 10 offense coming into the game, scored 31 points a game. They had bad games. The Eagles actually had better games. Well, it depends. I mean, the Lions outgained them, but that's because they're throwing it 100 times and they're behind the whole game. I mean, look, I'm not saying the offense is good, but I think and that's the nature of people following the NFL, to overstate what happened most recently. And what happened most recently to the Eagles is they played in 2 shitty weather games. Now, they've scored over 30 points a couple times. They've had a perfect passer rating. They've scored over 30 points 3 times. Now, some of that's helped by block field goal. Some of that's helped by block punt. They just dominated the Giants. They had a perfect passer rating against the Vikings. Like, there has been moments of good offense. Not enough. But I think people overstate what happened most recently. And that's why I say, look, if they score 10 points in Dallas in that environment, or 16 points or whatever, in that environment, I think it's worse than what happened yesterday or what happened 2 weeks ago in Green Bay. Everything is not in a vacuum. Both teams struggled. The point is, and you happen to be playing both good offenses, undoubtedly good offenses, consistently good offenses. Maybe they weren't as good as they usually are because they both lost their great tight ends. And that was a little bit of luck for the Eagles. Green Bay lost Crab. They lost Laporta. Maybe they weren't the same team offensively. I think they're going to struggle a little bit, not like they did last night. But I'm like, you got to realize those games were difficult for both offenses. Eagles, Lions, Packers, all 3 offenses. Difficult games. That's all I'm trying to say.
Fair. Here's Pumper. Can Hurts act like he gives a damn out there? He looks dazed and confused. Buddy, why don't you watch film instead of picking out your game day kicks? Man, Pumper's coming for Jalen again today.
He always comes from Jalen. Yeah, I could care less about the game day kicks. Jason Dumas loves them. So.
He does. Jason Dumas does love them.
What?
Here's Blaze.
Who gives a
It's,
shit?
so, it's just so hard to watch this offense. Winning is great, but man, brutal. Carried by the defense again. Dean covering Gibbs and Williams, top notch. Yeah, Dean was amazing yesterday, dude.
Yeah, he did have a couple decent coverage plays as well. They were playing Campbell in coverage, and then they, later in the game they went to Dean. He had a big time game. Yeah, I don't like that matchup long term, but he had one nice rep. I don't like that matchup. Yeah, I can't scout off one play, but it was a nice play. Nice play.
Yeah, no doubt. Blaze, thank you, brother. And Harris says, are you guys surprised by how good of a game Phillips had against Sewell, though? I was a little surprised, to be honest. He dominated. Good game.
I mean, I have to watch it again. I got home at 3:30 in the morning. I haven't watched the game. There were some splash plays. My hunch is it's not going to look as good from play to play because Panay's really good, but that's just a hunch. I gotta watch the game again. But either way, Jalen Phillips is a big time player, and he's going to pay dividends for the Eagles.
No doubt. He really looks good. Nakobe Dean coming off a major knee injury out here covering Gibbs and Williams, wreaking havoc out there. Dude is a beast. Pay him, Howie.
No, he's not covering dude. Come on, guys. Yeah, he's playing great though. He's playing great. And really it's about instincts and physicality. Really physical player. Which is, again, the silver lining, I think, of his injuries. Not only the patellar, but before with the Lisfranc, is he couldn't work out his lower body, so all he did was work out his upper body. And he's completely different from when he showed up. He's always short, but for a linebacker, but he's big now. He's a big dude, big physical dude. And you add that to his instincts, he's a really good player. But yeah, he's not matching up with Jason Williams and Jahmyr Gibbs.
Well, he did a couple times last night, I think is what people are talking about. But
exactly.
Overall, it's not a matchup you want.
Yeah, that's not something that you want to do. But yeah, don't scout one play.
Fredo says AJ is ranked 134th in the NFL and getting separation. Where the hell do you get that stat?
Yeah, I don't know where he's getting it, but there's a lot of those stats. They didn't. I know Next Gen Stats put out. He or Devontae had a bad day getting separation, but part of that is so many teams play zone, and Detroit's one of the few that plays man. So Detroit's playing right off the bat. They're going to have better. That's why I don't like stats like that. Right off the bat, they're going to have better numbers when it comes to separation because they're trying to press cover.
Different style of defense. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think those stats, now they're meaningful. AJ's not playing as well, bottom line, as he typically does. But yeah, I don't like those stats. A lot of context is missed in that.
Here's Dwayne. He says, I'm still in awe we were able to get Phillips.
Yeah, the Dolphins should be ashamed of themselves, but hey, bad teams do bad things.
Harris says the Hard Knocks episode is going to be a whole show of everybody walking around. That's about what I'm expecting.
Eeyore. He put Eeyore walking around. AJ.
Eeyore walking.
That's going to get back. That's going to bite me in the ass. Because I started calling, it's like the Temu off season. I started calling AJ Eeyore because, he's not happy. But that's fine. He's, I think everybody knows why he's not happy. I think everybody understands it. But, I mean, at some point, like Jeffrey Lurie, calling him over in this performative fashion. Hey, dude, it's about more than you right now. And, we'll revisit it. If you want to go somewhere else in the off season, I'm sure they'll accommodate him.
Harris, appreciate it. A little Eeyore from, what's that from? Winnie the Pooh?
Winnie the Pooh.
There you go. Dwayne says, also, I think Fred Johnson don't get enough credit. Dude single-handedly saved us against the Rams and came in last night and played very well. Dwayne, good pull by you. I think Fred deserves a lot of credit for sure.
Yeah, the Big Fred package. Even before Lane went down, they were using them a lot. As him playing the extra tight end. Now, you know, they didn't run. They didn't do anything that effectively. But then second straight game, he had to come in for Lane and play significant snaps. So yeah, he's doing a good job.
Good stuff there. Dwayne, appreciate it. Last one here. Abe says, I'm already thinking about Carter versus Booker.
Yeah, I'll take Carter in that one.
Yeah, me too. All day. All right, good stuff. Appreciate everybody for all the super chats today. A lot of support on the show. Birds get the win again. John, anything from the game that we didn't talk about today that we got to talk about? We talked about the offense, talked about the defense. Jake Elliott deserves some credit. 3 big kicks in that windy weather. Well done by him. Anything we missed, J-Mac?
I think we got it all. Maybe because it didn't come up because they won the game, but I still think that 4th and 1 is egregious at your own 30-yard line, up 2 scores. Like, that's the only way they can get back in the game. Like, I think that's one of the worst Nick Sirianni decisions ever. Seriously, as a head coach. There's only one way they can get back in that game. And that's stopping you on 4th and 1. If you punt it away, it's going to be too time consuming unless you completely break down on defense and you're playing a great game defensively. So I thought that was really a poor decision, but it doesn't matter much when you win the game.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, Johnny.
It's about your process. Nick will always say it's about the process. So, it works both ways. When it works, doesn't mean it wasn't a bad decision, and it was a very bad decision.
No doubt about it. All right, John, your final thoughts, man. That's a big win, Johnny. This is a game we talked about for a long time. That's a team I think the Eagles respected. We obviously gave them a lot of credit for what they've been able to do. They've been one of the best offenses in football, been one of the best teams in football. I mean, they won 15 games last year. Your final thoughts here on after the Eagles get another big win and now kind of get to still a couple of tough games, but certainly through the toughest part of the schedule, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it eases up, if anything. I mean, it's the NFL. Anybody can bite up and beat you because everybody's got good players. I say that all the time. And the Cowboys' history says the Eagles struggled down there at times. So can't sleep on them. Caleb Williams is a hell of a playmaker. He can beat you by himself at times. But, the Eagles are better than the Cowboys. The Eagles are better than the Bears. So, I have to look at the schedule, but Cowboys, Bears, Chargers, Raiders, Commanders, Bills. I don't think there's another game where they won't be favorites for the rest of the way. Maybe Buffalo, but
they got to be favored. Is Buffalo in Buffalo?
Yeah. Maybe Buffalo because it's in Buffalo late in the season. And the Eagles might not even have anything to play for at that point. More so than Buffalo because New England's good. So I'm gonna bet, in any meaningful game where they're playing, I'm gonna bet they're not gonna be underdogs again this season, including the playoffs.
Yeah.
So there you have it.
Eagles in good position, no doubt about it. 8-2, sitting at the top of the NFC.
Get out those underdog masks.
What is the Howard fans going to frame that up, John? How do you become the underdog?
They ain't the fucking underdogs. They haven't been the underdogs for a long time, but it's ingrained in Billy's self-beliefs, I guess. But you ain't the underdogs.
All right, John, good stuff, brother. Appreciate you doing it today, man. 8-2, another win for this team. It's crazy. They just keep winning. Definitely got to give them a lot of credit for it. John, good stuff, brother. We'll talk to you tomorrow. What is on the agenda real quick? You got the Sunday game. I think it's a 4:25 game in Dallas. So the team is off today, probably not back until Wednesday. I think we're all waiting for that Lane Johnson, Cam Jurgens update, but that won't
Yeah,
come.
we'll get a we'll see. We'll see. With the injuries, Nick. But Nick will talk via Zoom this afternoon. Coordinators tomorrow. Back on a normal schedule. Practice Wednesday, Thursday, Friday for a Sunday game.
Yep, good stuff. All right, Johnny Mac, good show, brother. I will talk to you tomorrow. All right, my man.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
All right, thanks, Jim Mac. There's Johnny Mac, John McMullen here on Birds 365. Appreciate him doing it today. Eagles get the win. Everybody moved to 8-2. They win 16-9. Did anybody expect the score of the Eagles-Lions game to be that? I don't think so. I know some of you are, beating your chest about it. All right. So, but it is what it is. Good win yesterday. I'll take some comments from the great people. I want to thank everybody for the super chats today. All right. Very good. Very good all around. We appreciate all of that. Good win, though. Good win, man. I said it, guys. I've always tried to be honest with everybody, and I've been pretty tough on the offense in terms of, just the expectation for them this year. I'm starting to just get to a point of like, dude, I mean, if the Lions can't beat us when we play poor offensively, there's nobody that's going to beat us. Like if there's one team, remember when we beat a team last week, or we beat, teams, and we have these bad offensive performances, and the common idea, and I have the idea as well, was, well, if you play versus a better team, I don't think you're going to be able to win this way. And this is something I've said. Well, the Lions are the team that would have beat us. Like the Lions were the hypothetical team that we talked about in that instance. Well, if you play this way offensively versus the Lions, they're going to score too many points and they're going to beat you. Well, they didn't. The Packers didn't either. It's weird. I understand that people expect more from the offense. I know I certainly do. But at the end of the day, sometimes you just got to look and be like, well, I'm wrong. I'm wrong. Maybe I shouldn't care about the offense. It's weird. Absolutely. It's very weird. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I think it's completely fair for fans to look and say, we should expect more. I don't think it's unfair. I don't think it makes you a bad fan. I don't think that makes you a bad fan. But, they're giving us too much evidence here against it. So I'll take a couple comments from the great people. Big Mike Zander, did any update on Big Mike? Come on. Big Mike, I know you've been watching enough JAKIB Sports and enough Eagles content to know that there would never be an update on a Monday basically about an injury. Now, unless it was season ending. I think maybe you would get that if there was like an MRI. So, no, but no update yet. No update yet, all right? No update yet. So, it is what it is, but that's something to keep an eye on, Marcus says, why do you let John off the hook when he says we want style points? We just want points no matter how they look. Well, that's fine. That's what you want. But you're not the host of the show. I don't think I let John off the hook. I let John explain what his point of view is. Marcus, a lot of people tune in to hear what John has to say. They don't tune in to hear me constantly push back on every point of view that John has. I don't agree with him on everything. Doesn't mean I got to go at him every single time. He thinks that people want style points. Because sometimes that's what it looks like. They're winning. They've won it at a crazy clip. And the points that you're talking about, they don't matter as much as we thought. I mean, even I've had to come off that. We don't even need the points. Z, do we pay Nakobe or Reed? Nakobe's next question. Come on, man. Reed? Come on. Winning why? Not because the offense. Twiz, that's fair. That's a fair comment. But look, we're winning, All right. Island says J-Mac gets too many. He didn't get that much hate. Come on. Let John off the hook. What is he? His dad yet, too? I don't know. I don't know what people want from me. I think people just want me to come up here and just debate John on everything, But, I don't think that's my role. And I don't think that makes a great show. I think there are certain moments where you can create debate and have a good conversation about a disagreement. But I don't think every time John makes a point, me disagreeing or debating him is good for the show. At least that's my opinion. All right. Here's Curtis. Z, what are you saying that's wrong? We shouldn't expect to keep holding teams to one score. The other score was on Nick, and the defense almost knocked him out of field goal range. Well, Curtis, I hear you, but there's too much evidence now that's building up that it doesn't matter. It might look that way versus the Lions. Every game, though, there's these circumstances that come where the Eagles are in a position to win. Eventually, the circumstances are too big and too great and too common to just brush them aside. Well, if that didn't happen, they wouldn't win. Or, well, if that – every week it's something. Every week a circumstance comes along that puts the Eagles in position to win. After a certain amount of time, it's not circumstance anymore. You know, it's what they're doing. Nick says, Z, if you could only pick between Phillips or Dean to sign, who are you signing? Well, you got to go Phillips there because, you know, you do have a linebacker. But, shit, I want Nakobe Dean back. I don't give a shit about the injuries. I'm sorry, I don't. That dude completely changed the defense. Him and Phillips. But you cannot say it's one or the other. You cannot just say we traded for Phillips and the defense changed. Phillips and Nakobe, and the defense changed. Nakobe is fucking amazing. He is amazing. He shoots the gaps so fast, it's amazing. He's amazing, man. I think Dean is underrated. Win or lose this year, you think Vic will be back? Yeah, I don't think Vic's walking away yet. I don't think Vic. Why? Why walk away, man? He's in a perfect spot. No crazy external, noise. Comfortable in his role as a defensive coordinator. Job security, definitely not getting fired. I don't see why he would walk away. Maybe he would if he really just wants to kick his feet up, but that's not the kind of guy that Vic strikes me as. Again, I don't know Vic personally, so maybe I'm speaking out of line here, but it doesn't strike me as that type of dude. Kind of more strikes me as a guy that just wants to work. Maybe he wants to take some time off, but doesn't really strike me as a guy that's like itching to get to retirement so he can kick his feet up and live the good life. Some guys like that. I don't anticipate I'd be like that. All right. I think I'm going to work until I'm dead, folks. That's my take. I'll be working until I'm dead. I can actually probably guarantee you that. All right. Tua says, took the job to be close to his grandkids. Wouldn't surprise me if he walks away. Well, he's, knows the area well. Gino says, I'm loving this Timu defense. Timu defense is operating at a very high level right now. Q says, yo, Xander, who has more talent on their side of the ball, defense or offense? Offense, Vic has them playing lights out. Offensive coaches suck, bro. Q, I don't disagree, but at the end of the day, Q, I'm coming to just an acceptance of it. I mean, Q, what are we going to do? Like, hear me out, because believe me, I've been in your position. Remember the postgame show last week when everybody was all mad at me because we beat the Packers 10-7, and I was bitching about the offense. But Q, what are we going to do? We keep winning games. We've suffocated two offenses who were supposed to be two of the better offenses in football in the Lions and the Packers. We win another game. We're 8-2. We're 23-6 in the last 26 games, or 23-3 in the last 26 games. I mean, what the fuck are we going to do, Q? Bitch? Like, I get it. I like bitching too. And I hear you. And sometimes the offense pisses me off to a certain level that just I can't contain. But what are we going to do? The team is winning at a fucking clip that is insane. We're beating the teams that are the best teams in football. We're beating the teams that were supposed to be the teams that beat us when the offense wasn't good. I don't know, Q, I hear you and I'm with you. A large part of me agrees with you. But Giants beat us, I get it. Q says, I agree with all that, but it looks historically bad. Yeah, it's pretty bad, bro. It is pretty bad, but here's Waddington. What's up, Waddington? I said it 2 weeks ago. The defense is good enough to keep us in any game. Offense just needs to not turn the ball over and take points when they can get them. The coaches know that. Fair enough. All right. Fair enough. Brandon Howard, what's up, E-How? We're going to win the Super Bowl. Pay the defense, go young and cheap on offense because they aren't the star. Well, maybe. Here's Roll Philly. Z, 2 dumbass end-of-game play calls back-to-back. Are we sure Hurts and AJ went rogue? Seems like every time Nick starts to get questioned, a Jalen hit piece comes out. That's stupid commentary. Roll Philly, that's Eagles Twitter talk. I'll leave that to Eagles Twitter. Curtis says, Zander, we are a little off the mark. It might be the cheapest, but the defense is loaded with talent. Yeah, tons of first-round picks. You know, they're the cheapest more because of circumstance, Curtis. Good point by you. Jalen Phillips was a first-round pick. Jalen Carter, first-round pick. Jordan Davis, first-round pick. N'Kobe Dean, third-round pick. Quinyon Mitchell, first-round pick. Cooper DeJean, second-round pick. Jalen Carter, first-round pick. Nolan Smith, first-round pick. Jalen Hunt, third-round pick. Jahad Campbell, first-round pick. Zach Bowen, obviously not. You know, I mean, there is plenty of pedigree on that defense. Lots of early, Islander just rattled. Makuba, second-round pick. Reed Blankenship, undrafted. Reed Blankenship stinks. Actually insane. Howie the GOAT, man. Howie, look, it's all coming together right now. All right. Arthur says, Hurts been a couple yards off the last 2 games. Nothing yard. Yeah, Arthur, I agree. And I don't even think it's this big proclamation that I'm trying to come at the quarterback. You know, I think there's a difference of like the offensive philosophy sucks. And then there's just like the micro, which is how players play on a given day. Again, not an indictment on their whole career for all the people who are about to get in a tizzy. But, yeah, Jalen's been off the last 2 weeks. More than usual. Missing throws that he normally hits. That's okay to say. Okay, that's okay to say. Philosophy on offense is still what it is. All right. Here's Tua's. Gonna have to pay that side of the ball. I have to start trimming the fat on those offensive contracts. Bad move paying Jurgens and giving Saquon a raise. Looking like you might be right about that, unfortunately. All right. Jeremy says, I think you are too hard on Reed. He made some plays last night. That's fine. Might be too hard on Reed. I don't think they're going to pay Reed, though. Yeah, that was true, Waddington. Good call out by you. Reed put the boomstick on Gibbs. That was a hard hit, man. That was a hard hit. You kind of saw he shook Gibbs up completely. Angelo says, Aaron, do you think Tank needs a bigger role in this offense? You know, it's interesting. This is an interesting convo because a lot of the year I've been saying I don't think it's Saquon. I think it's the offensive line. I think it's the run blocking. I think it's some of that stuff. But I don't know. Is it? Oh, neck cracking. I don't know. Is it? Like, I don't think Saquon's getting downfield. Like, when you have a team like the Lions did last night, they dropped those safeties in the box. You need a north to south runner. Tank Bigsby, I mean, much smaller sample size. You cannot extrapolate 4 carries and look at what he would do in a full game sample size. So nowhere am I about to say that Tank Bigsby is better than Barkley or should get more touches. But I do wonder if, you know, some of those big runs that Saquon had last year, I think he's like now looking for them maybe a little too much. Like, dude, you're not going to take it to the house every time. Get downfield. Don't dance. Don't get too cute. Just fucking run the ball. The big plays will come, you know? Manny says it is the line. Teams don't attack the line of scrimmage when Tank is there. Come on, Zay. All right, Manny, so you don't think Barkley, it's at all on Barkley? Yeah, he's doing the LaShawn dance. The Sanders dance, that's crazy. Yada says no. All right, Yada, that's fair. That's fine. I don't agree with you, but that's fine. Woke up a winner today. How about y'all, Reyes? That's true. We did wake up a winner. The Eagles did wake up a winner. Reyes, you didn't win shit. You're not on the fucking team, Reyes. Although sometimes I wonder if you're on their payroll. Zander, he still got speed. Yeah, speed. I'm not saying he doesn't have speed. Speed is different. I don't think he's hitting the gaps the same. I don't think he's hitting the holes. I don't think he's trying to get downfield. I think he's hesitating. I think he's waiting for things to open up that aren't opening up. Versus sometimes you just got to take that rock and run it. Fucking get upfield quick. Pick up 4 yards. You know, too much dancing behind the line of scrimmage. First place in the NFC, enough said. Fair enough. Barkley looks for contact. Tank looks for yards. I do love Barkley, though. Fair enough. Ray says, I noticed that Tank is attacking the line and Saquon's dancing. I agree. I think that's part of the reason he's getting hit behind the line of scrimmage so much. V Smug says, why aren't they calling RPO or read options? I think that's a fair question. I don't know. I don't know. All right. It is what it is. But look, I think the big takeaway from the game, guys, is this defense is so fucking good. There's not a team that we're not going to be in the game with. The defense is amazing. The defense is flat out amazing. I mean, if you don't get got by the Lions when you have a shitty offensive performance, you're not going to get got. I'm sorry, you're not. Defense is going to keep us in every game. Gary, by the way, I forgot to answer your text. Sorry, bro. I'd already shipped the jersey, though. I forgot to answer your text on Saturday night. I didn't even see it on Saturday night, but I woke up Sunday, went to church, just forgot to get back to you. My bad, bro. Hope you enjoyed the game. Dirty air. Banger. Z, Smitty is wide receiver 1. I don't care if AJ gets another target all year. He gave up on that play. Go watch it. It's embarrassing, and he got his targets. Yeah. Don't care if he doesn't get another target. Roll Philly. Why do you got to go to the extremes? If the offense can be even above average, we're unbeatable. Yeah, but HKP, aren't you kind of done expecting that? Like, look, I hear you. You know, like I'm with you, HKP. But it's getting tiring expecting things that aren't coming. You know? It's not coming. I don't think it's coming. I don't think average is coming, Curtis. You know? Maybe on a game, maybe on like 1 game sample size. But look, we're a defensive football team. When the defense plays as good as they have, you're going to be in every game. You know, let's hope we don't have another Giants performance where the Giants just come out and dominate us. But I'm kind of done expecting this offense to be above average or even average at that point. Reyes, I think they got to get back to this more. Something that V Smug just was saying. They got to start running Hurts more, a little bit more, I think. You know, I do. I think it adds a wrinkle. I'm not saying run him 10 times a game. I'm saying 3 to 5 times can really put a defense on their heels. You know, 3 to 5 big runs that create first downs, I think can really throw off a defense. That's what I would say. Big Z, you're a man of faith. Some things take longer than you'd like, but the payoff is worth the wait. Go Birds. ZM, you're going in circles there. I don't know what me being a man of faith has anything to do with the Eagles' offense, but if you want to try and tie them together, by all means, go for it. I'm not tying them together at all, though. Me being a man of faith has legitimately zero to do with the offense. Z, where the F are the read options? He doesn't keep anymore. The defensive end just crashes on Saquon. Yeah, it's true. That's what V Smug was just saying. You know? So, look, I think they got to use it a little bit more, but it is what it is. Xander, I think Jalen runs will open the offense up. I think a little bit. All right. Here's Roll Philly. I come from the age where if you give up on plays, you sit your ass on the bench. It don't matter who you are. All right, well, Roll. With all due respect, my friend, I'm pretty sure you're like fucking my age, 27. Now, I get it. We're getting up there, and we've seen a lot of football, and maybe we feel like we're getting old. There's a lot of people out there who've seen a lot more football than me. John McMullen is one of those people. He's covered this game up close and personal for a long time. He tells me all the time that is way overblown. He covered Randy Moss, okay? And he said, happens all the time. Happens with the best receivers in football, all right? You can't just expect a wide receiver to run through every single play if they don't think they're getting the ball. It's not how it works. I get it. Ideally, as a fan, we want to see that. I'm going to take John's word on this. Guy covered Randy fucking Moss, dude. He covered Randy fucking Moss. Would you sit Randy Moss on the bench if you took a playoff role? Would you sit Randy Moss on the bench? Like, I hear you. I get it. But, you know, I don't know. I'm kind of deferring to John there. John's got more. He's got more. You know, he's seen more than me. He's been through more than me. He's watched more football than me. He says, Zander, don't make too much of it. You know? So I hear you, but Q is allowing the lowest completion percentage in the NFL. Can you guess the last Eagle to do this, Z? I bet you can't. Fuck, that's a tough one. Lito Shepard, maybe Asante Samuel. Vulnerable, who is it? Who is it? Vitality. Eric Allen's probably a good one. Maybe Eric Allen. Bradbury. James Bradbury. Who got it? Original Philly got it before you said it. James fucking Bradbury. Holy shit. That's funny. Catch says John played flute in high school. I don't really give a fuck what he played. I know he covered Randy Moss. All right. I know he covered Randy Moss and Adrian Peterson and guys like that. John's covered a lot of great football. I don't really give a shit what people have to say about John. He's seen a lot of football. And that's why people like to listen to him. He's got a good perspective on the game. Regardless of what he played in high school. I don't give a fuck what he played in high school. Ray says, AJ makes over $1 million a game. He should go hard. I'm not about to sit up here and pocket watch him. I don't give a fuck. Curtis says, Zander, one thing you are right about. If you give up on hope, the games are more enjoyable. Every time we got great field position, I expected nothing, and I wasn't as mad on offense and happy on D. Curtis, the enlightenment is happening. The enlightenment will infect all of Eagle Nation. The offense sucks. Who cares? Curtis, is that where we're reaching? Who cares? The offense sucks. Defense is so damn good, man. Defense is so damn good. We're going to be in every game. We're going to be in every game. I guess so, Z. For my health, I need to think that way. You and me both, brother. Zander John's a well-rounded reporter whose experience been great. I agree. Great reporter. All right, great reporter. V Smug. Remember I said this last week, V Smug. I'm not sure if you heard it, but I said last week I thought Amon-Ra was a little overrated. Not that I didn't think he was a great player. I think he's a great player. When I said overrated, I meant the type of dude who's in a perfect environment for his type of play. And if he wasn't, I don't know how much he would dominate or take over games. And I think I feel a little vindicated after last night. Not a perfect environment. He didn't do fucking shit. He had like 2 catches on how many targets? How many targets did Amon-Ra St. Brown get last night? Let me go look. 12 targets. 2 catches on 12 targets. Z, you ever see Smitty give up? I haven't, and AJ doesn't perform like Rangy. AJ doesn't get open anymore. I don't know if you can say that about Smitty. I don't know. That's fine. Real Philly, I'm not mad at you for being upset at AJ. I think it's fair. I'm just telling you, somebody who's seen a lot more football than I had said, Zander, the best receivers in football in the history of football have always had plays where they don't run full speed. If you're just a fan, you just expect a guy to run full speed, all 58 plays he's out there, or however many plays it was, no matter what the circumstance, no matter what play they're running, you know, I don't know. I'm defaulting to John there. I'm good with defaulting to John. It doesn't mean I don't respect your opinion or see where you're coming from. All right. Xander, some people don't understand it's okay to disagree with someone else. Just agree. I disagree with people all the time, Big Mike. And I expect people to disagree with me all the time. I don't fucking sit up here and expecting people to agree with me all the time. I'm just at a point now where I don't know how much I should expect of this offense. The offense is not good. The defense is amazing, you know? Real Philly, I think this is a fair way to look at it. I wouldn't be as mad about it if AJ didn't stir up all this shit. I think that's fair. All right? I think that's fair. That to me is fair. You ought to say, shit, if I'm running a million go routes, I would take some off as well. KP in these playbook drafts. You're right, and that's kind of what John has alluded to. All right? Tua says, AJ doesn't get open anymore. I think you're being facetious there. Kurt Warner did a piece on NFL Network yesterday showing him wide open all over the place. But this guy on his mom's couch knows. The AJ drama will get bigger now. Watch. Catch, you might be right. It is what it is with AJ. He's mad and we stink. Well, we stink, but we keep winning. So, you know, it is what it is. At this point, I'm just embracing that we have such a great defense, that Vic Fangio has, you know, is probably the best defensive coordinator we've ever had. And I know that's not going to fall lightly on some people's ears. You know, when you have guys like Jim Johnson and Buddy Ryan and some of these guys, I get it, but Vic Fangio is fucking amazing. He's the MVP of this team. He's the MVP of this team. Now, the one thing I'll say about, you know, that's bothered me about the analysis, you know, certainly here on JAKIB and from John, and I tried to tell him this today, but the one thing I don't like is that, like, we give Vic all this credit for the defense, and I think he deserves it. But then when we go to the offensive side and we look at how bad the offense is, it's like John doesn't want to put any of it on the play caller or any of it on the coaches. And I'm like, why? How do we give so much credit to Vic on defense, but we don't give any of that same lack of credit or blame to the offensive play callers on offense? You know, that to me doesn't really compute. But, you know, John gave me a roundabout answer of, you know, even on defense, it's not all Vic, and he's not out there playing. He's not out there covering like Quignon. That's fine. That's fair. But, bro, it's kind of what I just said, you know. It's what I just said. So, I get it. But, all right, everybody, good show today. Appreciate all the super chats. Hit that like button. I do appreciate everybody for being here. I got to run. I got a bunch of stuff to post up, bunch of shorts from the postgame show. A bunch of shorts from the morning show today. Birds get the win. 8-2, guys. 8-2, and that's a big win over a good team. All right? Big win over a good team. So, you know. So, it's a good win. Appreciate you being here. Hit that like button. By the way, Dank, are you in here? Real quick before I go. Dank, are you in here? If Dank is in here, I got to give him his credit. Yeah, Boomer Sooner. As a Bama guy, I got to give Dank his credit. All right, Dank told me we had a little bit of a weak bragging rights because he's a big Oklahoma guy. So Oklahoma got the win. Not a bad performance from my Crimson Tide on Saturday. Not a great performance. Not a great performance from Ty Simpson. Two kind of bad weeks, in my opinion, for Ty Simpson. Not great for the Alabama Crimson Tide. You know, it's a tough spot. They've had a lot of big games, and just kind of staying up is a tough thing to do, but they got, no doubt. So appreciate everybody for being here. Hit that like button. See you next time, everybody.
You've been listening to Birds 365. the destination for the passionate Eagles football fan who bleeds green. If it's Eagles football, we're talking about it. Debate, inside the locker room, and guests that are some of the greatest football minds from around the region. We hope you enjoyed the show. We know we had a blast. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll be back soon. But in the meantime, hook up with us on social media at JAKIB Sports. See you next time on Birds 365.